You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey, folks! Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
how we game.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And we're a podcast on Thursday nights about how you game because it is call-in show night. Thursday night call-in show. Welcome all to the call-in show. We do have a topic tonight.
Woohoo.
We are actually planned it. What is it? Whole new year.
Some ahead of time.
2024. Completely new me.
Yeah.
Topic set ahead of time.
Yeah.
Notes on said topic.
Oh, notes.
Like ready to go.
It's almost like you're prepared for this.
He wrote stuff down. Yeah.
I wrote stuff down.
It'll also probably be the last time he's this prepared.
Yeah.
If anything is consistent.
It's like a New Year's resolution.
It's
New Year's
inconsistent.
resolution.
Happened once and it's gone.
So phone lines will open today, but you know what? We are going to push that back a hair. We're going to open that up likely around 9:45. That's going to give us about 45 minutes between the four of us to go through today's topic. 5 games-ish. 5-ish games.
5 games. Let's 5 games.
That
Rank
question mark, exclamation point, question mark, you haven't played yet?
Yeah.
5 games that we haven't played yet. And I'm not talking about 5 games from 2023 we haven't
Just
played
ever.
yet.
Yeah.
Just ever. Just games that we feel like, you know what? I'm still surprised at myself, and maybe others are surprised at me for not yet having had played these games.
Do you even game, bro? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the topic for today. And almost, you know, it's something where I want to get right into it. I want to start off, no banter. Let's just jump in because I want to condense our time, use it wisely, and then get into the phone calls, and then we'll give you deeper conversation about it.
He's just so excited. I mean, he told us before the homework was 5 games. I'm looking at his pad here. He's got 20 games written down on his pad, and as we're talking, he's crossing them out, trying to get it down to 5. So
and he wrote the year they were made and who the designer is. And
Yeah,
he's ready
exactly.
To go, man.
But
All
again,
the times he thought about playing it.
Yeah, well, 5 games. It's in this wall of games up here that we know are somewhat unplayed. Well, I don't know if I say largely unplayed, but a lot of unplayed stuff up there. So yeah.
Judging.
Carlos could
Yeah,
randomly
yeah,
reach behind his head,
grab
grab
it
any
randomly.
box, and
This
there's
game.
a good chance it's
Shelf
one that he
shape.
hasn't played yet.
Good chance it's on
and
this
then
list.
The other question is, of the 5 games he narrows down that 20 list to, how many of those 5 games does he actually already own versus not already own?
All right, so
That was the thing on our list.
we didn't
talked
go
about it.
into
Yeah.
a lot of detail on how to create this list because I'm not gonna dictate to y'all how to make your list, right? But that was a big part of how I made my list.
Yeah.
Was like I have no excuse. I already own this game and have maybe owned that game for years, right? Like for years have already
Hold
owned
on,
that game.
these don't have to be games that we own.
Oh,
though,
no.
right?
No.
I'm
not
Okay,
telling
all
you
right,
how to
just
make
making
your
sure.
list.
Yeah, there was one
Just
I put
making
on
sure.
here just mostly because of that, because I was looking at my shelf and I was like, oh, that's a game. I've been talking for years. I want to play that game, and I should have played this game, and I've owned it for years. And I need to put that on the list. So
My list is
Gotcha.
I own one of my 5, but I know the other 4 either members of this community own
Yep.
or I have another friend that owns it as well. So it's
Easy access to
easy
it.
access to it. Yeah.
yep.
Okay. And standard Mike tradition.
Oh,
My last one, I own part of my last one, but we'll figure that out when we get to it.
All right, so we don't have an exact order either. We're gonna just do 5 top 5 games. Doesn't have to be like top like in any specific order. It's up to you on how to decide how you want to do it. So let's go with number 5, and we'll go around the table. Then we'll work our way to loots,
To the remotes.
and then from loots we'll go all the way across the country to the Pacific, the Pacific North. And one mic will close them out each time.
well, we're gonna start closest to home. You want to go first?
Yes. All right.
All right.
So my number 5, and this one I'm a little embarrassed about, is Hadrian's Wall.
Yep.
Hadrian's Wall came out in... Stop pointing to it. Stop it.
I'm gonna find it. It's right up here somewhere.
Hadrian's Wall was... I mean, like, I was dying to buy that game. I remember I jumped in when Dan at Your Turn did the Kickstarter for it, right? He was taking pre-orders for the retails. I was super excited, picked it up. It's a
looking-
2021 title. It's number 149 on the BGG, in the BGG ranking. I got a little bit scared away when Mike and Rob described their plays.
Oh, because scared away.
There was so much brain burn that I could smell.
It's good.
Like I wasn't sure if I was having a stroke. I could smell like burning toast or something.
Burning's good.
When y'all talked about it, so it kind of shied me
I would
away.
be happy to teach you, man, and get that played for you.
And that's the problem is Rob keeps saying
I need
that.
Mike to teach me again. You teach me again, I'll teach him again.
My number 5.
Sounds good.
Hadrian's Wall. Rob.
Again, these are in no particular order, but let me start off with, I'm just going to pick one here randomly on my list. I'm going to go Brass Lancashire. And so this was kind of a weird one for me because I've played a fair amount of Brass Birmingham. I love Brass Birmingham. I know Wayne owns Lancashire. Wayne has talked about how you've never played Birmingham, right? You've only played Lancashire?
I've played both.
You play both. Okay, gotcha. But you keep, you've mentioned several times that we got to get Lancashire to the table. You need to get Carlos and I through that just to kind of so we can see the slight differences between the two. But that's a game that again I think easy access. I know you know it. You can teach it. We can play that, knock that out fairly simply. But that's a game. I started mine. I guess I'll just say real quick here. I started my evaluation by looking at the top 50. Ranked games on BGG, and I'd only not played I think 6 or 7 of the top 50, and this one's up there near the top. I think this one's like 20, around number 20 or something. And I was like, well, that's a top 25 game that I've never played, even though both Lancashire and Birmingham are in the top 20. But this is one that should be easy to get off the list, so I'll start with that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
It's definitely they're so similar, but I think Lancashire is a little tighter. So if you thought like some of the decisions and the money was tight in Birmingham, it's a little tighter in Lancashire.
Okay, and I enjoy that. That's why some people shy away from Dune Imperium, and I love Dune Imperium because all the resources, everything in Dune are so tight. I like that.
We didn't say how many crossovers we thought we would have.
Oh.
And by the way, I have not played that either, Rob. But
okay, I'm gonna say 0.
Yeah, probably.
I think I went too high last time. I'm just going to go with 2.
You're gonna say 2?
2 between the 20 games we'll put on the board.
I was say it's only 20 games.
I think 2 of the games will match.
Okay.
I'll say 0.5.
0.5, yeah.
The word
Take the
and
odds.
of count.
So you can't hit it. So you're an over under 0.5 or more or less. Yeah.
So it's up to me now, right? Number 5.
Number 5.
I basically I started looking at the BGG top rankings, and I went through the first 100 and second. I went through up to like 300. And I just kind of look, and most of them I think floated towards the top 100 games that I haven't played yet, and maybe 1 or 2 in the top 200. But I'm gonna go with my number 1. My number 5 is Star Wars Rebellion. Given the IP, that I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and the fact that I haven't played this game, and it's kind of like Star Wars in a box. I tried to play it at Dice Tower East last year, and they had it set up wrong. I was going to play with Ron Frazier.
Oh yeah.
We sat down for a few minutes and then realized they had set it all up backwards, and I was like, "Nah, you know what? Let's just go do something else."
Yep, I remember
and they
that.
had all the cool planets. It was really nice, but then they eventually took it down because I don't think anyone played it. But I definitely want to give this a go. I know it's a 2-player game that takes a while. Yeah, and that's I think why it's hard to get that game to the table. I think unless you have a dedicated play partner that wants to do that long 2-player game. So
that's a game I own. I've played the original twice, original without the expansion. The expansion fixed the combat rules and added a few other little elements, streamlined a few things. I read the rules for the expansion 2 or 3 times, and I just never got it back to the table. So I'd love to play that sometime. So I own that one. That's another one. Easy access.
I almost cheated and put that one on my list.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because
put it on my list, too.
Rob, I played it. That's why I said cheated. Like it
Yeah.
wouldn't belong on my list
Yeah.
because I have played it, but I played it before the expansion that fixed the combat rules. The combat in that game threw me completely off.
Combat sucked.
Like I never want to play this game again.
Yeah.
Which the expansion fixing that makes me feel like it's a new game. Like it's now I need to try it again. So Wayne, that we can call that a crossover because I thought about it.
Oh no! You're just
not
trying to
on
get
your
your
list.
2.
Come on,
Not a
man.
crossover.
No.
All right, Mike.
All right. This is going to be my 0.5 crossover, and this is the one that I partially own. I'm going to cheat on this one. I have never played a Lacerda game. Any
right.
Lacerda game. And I own Escape Plan, which is one that I really want to play. I think out of all of his games, it's probably the one that I've wanted to play the most. And I think it's one of the easier ones to play, actually, or learn and play.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of his lighter ones. Yeah.
But that's going to be my only cheating one, and say I have never played a Lacerda game.
Yeah, and we may hear this theme come up a few more times in the show, but okay.
Well, hey, let's get right to.
So we might as well.
Let's get right to number 4. Oh, look, professional. Look at that. My number 4, and crossover. Hit the DJ horn.
Yeah, something like that. That was a little throw.
I had Lacerda game. My number 4 is a Lacerda game. Now I literally wrote Lacerda game.
Not a crossover.
Right. I started with just Lacerda game.
You got too specific.
And then hyphen, I chose Lisboa.
Yeah.
Like that's the game I chose to be my Lacerda game. So I think that's a crossover.
Yeah.
He's thinking Lacerda. I'm thinking Lacerda.
It's going to be a crossover in a second anyway. So
How many
we haven't
Lacerda games
pre-talked.
do you own? How many do you own?
Zero.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's even more of a surprise.
I've never played a Lacerda game. There's no Lacerda game that has ever said, "Hey, Carlos, come get me."
Yeah. Sam in our gaming community owns several now because she's fallen in love with Lacerda. And so in the last year, I think she's bought like 3 or 4 of them. So I know she's got several of them now. So we'll have to tap that resource. Yeah.
So now I regret my number 1 or one of the ones on my list because I was going to put Lacerda game.
You changing it?
You're also on the list with you. Have you played it? Wayne, have you played a Lacerda game?
I didn't know Mike had that on there, but that's a 4-way crossover.
I think he
tightened up.
Froze. Yeah, I was gonna say he was freezing up there a minute
Yeah,
ago.
I'm freezing a little tonight.
He broke the internet with this.
broke the
Have
internet.
you not played a Lacerda game,
I've never
Wayne?
played a Lacerda game.
Mike, have you not played a Lacerda game at all?
No.
At
It's
all.
my number 5.
Ever.
What did I just say?
Hold on, I'm going around the board.
I have never played. Yeah.
Rob, have you not played a
I've never
Lacerda?
played. That's my number 4. Yeah.
I have. How is it that we should be canceled?
Do y'all even game, bro?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, are we even a content creation game show, board game talk show, if none of us have ever played a Lacerda game?
Yeah.
That is so strange.
Yep. I want to play Lisboa. I want to play on Mars. I want to play Kanban and/or Kanban EV. Escape Plan. Gallerist is an all-time great. I mean, any of those. I'd like to get any of those to the table. So that's my number 4. I'll go ahead and that's quick.
See,
and
I
easy.
really thought there wasn't
Yeah.
much that I didn't know about us as a group.
Yeah.
Like, we've been together so much. I had no idea that none of us had ever played a Lacerda
Again,
game.
I always talk about myself as a heavy Euro gamer, and that's you don't get much heavier than Lacerda. So that's something I got to rectify this year, maybe several times over. So I'll get several.
Well,
of
if you
those played.
rectify it, but it lasts more than 4 hours, you need to seek immediate medical attention.
Go see a doctor. Yeah.
Number 4, Rob, you're number 4.
That's it. So
Was it Lacerda?
That was it. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah,
Jeez.
that was announced. That's the 4-way crossover. Might as well get it out of the way. So since I didn't put them in any order, that I'll go ahead and throw that out.
Wayne, you're number 4.
It was a it's a 3-way crossover. I literally had On Mars, Lisboa, Kanban on my list, and I'm like,
you
I
had them
can't
all?
have all 3 Lacerda. So I
Oh.
took it off completely because I didn't want to cheat and
Okay.
go any Lacerda game. But
Oh, I said that.
That's what me and Mike did.
yeah.
So
So in taking off the Lacerda games, my number 4 is A Feast for Odin. Is a game that I have been to places where game days where I've had friends bring it, and it just kind of sat there, and we ended up playing other games. I've been tempted to try to play it on BGA, but I know it's like not probably the game you want to try to learn on BGA.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've played it on
So-
BGA several times over. I played it in person twice now, and yeah, really good game. It's you definitely need to play it. I think it's up your alley.
Yeah, I think I really I think I'd enjoy it. And so this is the game that I put on there instead of saying all Lacerda games.
Yeah. Yep. So, and that's one. This is one that kind of turns worker placement on its head. Well, I guess several games have said that throughout the years, but this one, there are I forget how many people obviously have counted it, but with the expansions and stuff, there's like 90 different worker placement locations you can go to, and so it's just a matter of trying to maximize what your plan is. You have to set a plan kind of early on in the game and then choose those spaces and hope people don't block you out, but there's so many spaces to go, so many options to choose from. It's a good one. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
All right. Mike,
Mike,
you're number 4.
I don't know if I should move my number 4 to number 2. Number 2 and number 1 are like they keep going back and forth as far as what's going to get the biggest. Are you kidding me? You've never played that. So I'm going to rearrange mine. I'm going to make number 4 Castles of Burgundy. Yeah. And Wayne's eyes lit up, man.
what?
Yeah, I know.
Lacerda, Castles of Burgundy.
It's just one of those that I want to play it, and every time people talk about it, I wish that I played it so I could talk about it myself. But it's just a game I don't own it. And I don't think anytime I've ever been to a con, nobody says, let's play Castles, because I'd be all over it if they did.
Except for Wayne.
Yeah.
Because Wayne would bring it all the time. And that's the only reason I played it. It was like, okay, fine, Wayne, let's just play your silly game.
Yeah.
Your ugly game. We'll play your ugly game, Wayne.
I played it at Dice Tower one year, but I don't think that was with Wayne. I know it was Jim, and I believe maybe Sam and somebody else played. I don't think that one was with Wayne.
And then I was like, holy crap, this is good.
Yeah.
This is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll love it, but yeah, that's just one I've never played.
Oh, so we could either play it. We could do a live play with Discord chat on BGA, teach it, or we can wait. If you do come to Dice Tower East, we can bust it out and play
I'd
there.
be totally down for a BGA play of it.
I think a pre-show BGA play, because we
cool.
can definitely get that in within the hour and a half before the show.
Oh, hell yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, that'd be
All
cool.
right, that's
All right, we're gonna make that happen. Write it down, take a picture, draw a painting, draw me like your French ladies. Let's go.
Tommy Jack.
Number 3. My number 3 is not a game I own, but I keep hearing about this game in our circles, in our group, and I have it in my wish list. I've read the rules. I've watched how to plays. Res Arcana. Res Arcana is a title from 2019.
Mike shaking his head. Don't look at him.
Number 137 all time of BGA. I love the idea of a small deck / hand / resources that you have access to that you're going to cycle through, right? You're going to use that same group. You got to figure out how to make that thing work. Like, you get a thing and you got to figure out how to make it work.
How to make it make points.
Right? It's not like you're going to be adding a bunch to it as you go or later to fix it. You just got to figure out how to make it work with what you have.
Yep.
All of that. Every time y'all talk about it, I want to play it. I still haven't had a chance. Res Arcana, my number 3.
That's my number 1 sleeper of 2019, man.
There you go. Yeah. And it's
Freaking
one you
love
really
that
need
game.
to play with the draft. A lot of people play it without the draft, but it's kind of like Mars. I got on Mars. Terraforming Mars. I got on Mars now stuck in my head from Lacerda. Terraforming Mars. That you can play without the draft, but you really, in my opinion, not really playing it. You really need to play the draft, and that helps you sync up some of those cards. Otherwise, you're just kind of like you say, you're really trying to just make the best of what you got, trying to churn out points with stuff that may not work together. But when you can do that draft, you can get at least a little bit of synergy going. It shortens the game, I think. The drafting part obviously lengthens it a bit, but then once you start playing, you've got some synergies already kind of planned out in your deck. So I recommend playing it with the draft. But yeah, great game.
And then
I recommend
Secret Cabal. Don from the Secret Cabal talks about it like every week.
Oh yeah. What were you saying, Mike?
I was going to say I would recommend not playing with Alan because he will just wipe the floor
Wipe
with
the
you.
floor with you every time. Nice.
That guy's
Screw you, Alan.
All right, my number 3. I'm going to hit one that's going to probably hit close to Mike here. And I told Carlos before, I was like, when I mention this one, Mike's going to probably perk up a little bit. Too Many Bones is a game that I have wanted to play for a long time. I don't think I've ever played a Chip Theory game, and Too Many Bones is one that I really want to get into. So I know it's kind of hard to find because of the high production of it. It was expensive, Kickstarter, all the nice stuff. And I know, Mike, I assume you still have that. You have not gotten rid of Too Many Bones, I assume. Yeah, okay.
No. I have way too much of it. I have too many bones. I have too
there you
many
go.
of too
There you
many
go.
bones.
So that's in the top 50, I believe, on the BGG all-time games.
Throw Rob a bone.
Yeah, throw me a bone.
Send one
throw a
this
dog
way.
a bone. Yeah. Yeah. So that's one I really got to play. So maybe again, that may be another one if we meet up at Dice Tower East or Dice Tower West in the next year or two. We got to try to get that one played. I'm sure they've got a nice copy in the library there.
Wayno,
Sam
you're
said,
number 3.
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Sam said that Nick taught her Res Arcana. She went out and bought it.
But the next
Day, yeah.
Actually,
That's-
I just looked it up on Amazon the other day because I was thinking about buying it. It's only like
33.
30. Yeah, it's like 30 $40 on.
Are you
Amazon.
coming around on it, Wayne? Actually,
I actually am. The first time I played
First
it, I
time you
wasn't
played,
a
you did not
fan.
love it.
And
Yeah.
I did not love it, but I'm really you know what it is. I've been playing it now on BGA a bunch, and I'm starting to really grasp the cards and the synergies a little bit better.
Okay, yeah.
So like those kind of games, I don't do well the first time.
It takes a few
and-
plays.
It takes a few plays for me to really get to it, so I definitely need to play them again. But yeah, I'm warming to it. It's a pretty cool game.
Nice.
Cool.
So my number 3, dude, everyone talks about this. It's a campaign game, but it's a campaign game you play over and over again. And I've not played any of the other Ryan Lochte games. the near and far, above and below, whatever. But Sleeping Gods is one that I really want to play.
Yeah.
It hits every top 100 list. It's like all the Dice Tower folks talk about it all the time. Every podcast I listen to always raves about it. And so it's one that I definitely want to play. I haven't found a group to play it with, right? And I don't own it. I'll copy, obviously.
I know we're at the beginning stages of a scenario campaign, because I don't know if you call it a full campaign, because you can reset and keep going and kind of learn more about the land.
Supposed to, yeah.
But I wonder how hard would it be to insert Wayne. So like you, me, Wayne, and Nick,
Dan or Nick or whoever,
right? Show up and just play.
Yeah, because we got 4 of us that we'd started a campaign. We'd played. We met like 3 different sessions. We played 2-3 hours each session.
Killed a few villagers.
We had one session. Yeah, we just made some bad decisions, but yeah, we had maybe one more session, maybe 2 or 3 more hours left to get through our first what they call run of the game. Once you do a run, you find so many idols. You kind of put those on a trophy shelf, and then you choose a different path. You go back. You start from the same spot. You choose a different way. You take all new adventures, and then you find a different set of idols, and you can replay the game. I think there's like 99 idols throughout the game, and so you can play as many times as you want. Just try to collect the different idols. So it reminds me a lot of a video game where you're trying to 100% find all the feathers, whatever it is. So
that was the one I think Mike Delisio said today, or on the top 100 list, like Sleeping Gods is kind of like the closest thing you get to like a Zelda game or like one of those kind of like open world where you play multiple times or go through different paths. It's just it comes up on so many lists of great games, and I think of all the Ryan Lockett games and the Red Raven, that seems to be like probably the best out of all of them. So I want to give that one a shot.
Nick's taking offense about how we're creating a group to play it. In the comment, Nick says, Dan or Nick or whatever, it's my MFer game.
My game of MFers. Yep.
Remember, possession is 9/10 of the law.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's sitting over Rob's right shoulder.
Nice.
Oh, so this is the Star Trek Panic of reverse of Star Trek Panic.
I'll sell it at the flea market, though. Mike, your number 3.
My number 3 is viticulture.
Oh, what? Castles of Burgundy and viticulture?
Yeah, and I'm a big.
I'm dead, bro. I'm dead. I cannot believe it.
And I'm a big Jamie's fan. I like his games for the most part, the ones that I have played. Except for a choice few. But this is another one that like consistent high marks. Everybody raves about it. Every time somebody talks about it, I wish I played it so I could talk about it as well. And, this is just one of those games that most people have played, and I just have never gotten around to it.
We're gonna have to fight for your soul here between those of us that believe you got to play the Tuscany versus the base.
Oh. Well,
I'm flipping to Tuscany.
There we go.
Because I have the app.
Yes.
So I downloaded the app's expansion for Tuscany and began enjoying that. And then I bought the expansion for Tuscany. So I'm converting.
Somewhere in New Iberia, Louisiana, there's a hobbit smiling.
Somewhere. His name wouldn't be Mitchell.
Number 2. All right, my number 2. This one just keeps coming up on this conversation. Whenever we have this conversation of like games that I can't believe I haven't played, this game is one that keeps popping up. I've got to get it played this year. I got to get it off my shelf of shame. I've owned it, Rob, since I lived at the old house.
Okay,
think about that. That's got to be 8+ years since I moved into this house.
Been a little while.
So it's almost a decade, I think, of owning this game. And it is from 2014, Dead of Winter.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you've talked about this for a long time. Man. Yeah. Forever we've talked about getting this
like
played.
Our buddy Chester at work, right? That's how he got into gaming. Yeah. Someone got him into playing Dead of Winter, and our buddy Chester at work just like fell in love with board gaming. And he's got a huge collection now. He's kickstarting everything, but it all started with Dead of Winter. Yeah. And that's when I first heard about it. And I'm like, I got to get a copy of that. I bought a copy of it, and I've set it up multiple times, and those game days have always fell through. That game setup fell through.
Gotta make it happen.
Because you need a good group of people.
That one's better with a group.
I would recommend only playing that at full player count with a trader. And I will say this about that game. I love it. I still own it. even though it hasn't hit the table in who knows how long since I lived in Florida.
Yeah.
It has its faults.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely not anywhere near a perfect game, but
Yep.
man, when it hits so good. And it's an I wouldn't say impossible. It's a very hard game to win, but just first of all, the crossroads
System.
mechanism about the person to your left, or right, whatever, reading the card, and then the possibility of they may not even be able to read the card until something happens or someone does something that's literally sitting at the table, or it just
But it introduced, a whole new mechanism, whole new way to play games. Where at the time when it came out, it was revolutionary. That's one thing I was going to mention, Carlos, is that the more years go by, I think you'll find it less and less impressive just because of so many other things that are going on in games right now. But at the time, and I played it 4 or 5 times, and I played it probably first time 7-8 years ago, so it's been a while since I played, and it kind of blew my mind when I played it. But now there's been several other games with this crossroads system that have come out.
Which I own both of Forgotten Waters and Freelancers.
And it was the space one that really bombed, that nobody liked. I forget, 627, or it was numbers or whatever. But anyway, I was going to mention, just kind of like that same path, Mike, is that you can have bad experiences with it. There are some times you're going to play it and it's like, oh, well, what's so exciting about this game? It kind of played out how I thought it would.
Yeah.
But then there are games of it where, like you say, some of those cards, somebody draws a card and then they can't say anything. They just put it down. And then it's like all of a sudden somebody does something and they flip the card. It's like, oh, you just triggered a thing. And so, and then several of these cards may be sitting around the table. And so somebody does something that triggers something. Somebody does something that triggers something else. All of a sudden the game can go to hell, real quick. So yeah, it's fun.
Some of those decisions are brutal. Like, I mean, they are just not, but I'll just say one of the decisions involves a crying baby.
Oh yeah.
I'll put it that way. There's that one.
Put it out of its misery.
Then, I mean, there's some adult themes in there.
Yeah, there's
it gets pretty dark.
It is if you have a good group, like it's like same thing with like Battlestar Galactica is almost the same way, right? In that you want to play full player count, you have to have the traders, and
it takes a while.
It takes a while, and you have to just go into it like the opposite of Thunder Road Vendetta, right? You go to Thunder Road Vendetta, I'm gonna be chaos, I'm gonna go crazy, it's gonna be quick fun, whatever. But it's similar mentality of I'm just going in to enjoy the experience of this game and the camaraderie of playing it with people, as opposed to trying to like just focus on the game or min-max or win it.
It's just sad. I've owned it for years.
And also the fact that there may not even be a trader at the table. You don't know. And then you start getting, paranoid. Like, that's like our famous, my famous line whenever I play with Mo. That's exactly what a trader would say. Anytime somebody would say something. So yeah, great game. Highly recommend playing it.
Yep.
That's my number 2.
Yeah, another one we can make happen. It's owned. It's in the group. A lot of people know how to play it.
That's why it makes me sad.
Yeah, you just gotta get it. We gotta get a group. That's the thing with that one. You gotta get a group of people.
And that's what it is. Like 3 people would show up, maybe 4, and I'm like, not quite at 4. I keep hearing, let's go full player count,
5, 6.
And then we put it away for something else.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, so my number 2, again, no order here, so I'm just going to kind of go with another game, following your lead that I own. This one is another one I've owned for probably close to 10 years. One I've talked about playing for almost 10 years and just have never got to the table. I mentioned it last week, I think, on the show. BJ from Board Game Gumbo chimed in. Great game. Underwater Cities is another one that I just have wanted to play forever. I'm a huge fan of Terraforming Mars. Everybody keeps telling me, if you like TM, you're going to love Underwater Cities. And I love the water theme. I love aquatic life, all that kind of, even though there's not aquatic life in this, but it's all underwater. I think I would really like this game. I've owned it. I keep looking at it on my shelf. I've read the rules for it 2 or 3 times, watched a how to play video, and just have never gotten the group together where I can go somewhere like, where 4 people want to play, that I can get it out and play it. So yeah, we need to make this one happen. But Underwater Cities is my number 2.
Nice.
Very good game.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
I haven't played that one either, and it's sort of, it was on my long list of 20 that I was looking at. But I figured I didn't put it on the list, knowing that I figured if you hadn't played it, it's gonna be on yours because it's a water theme, right? You like water stuff. So, my number 2 is a game that I have bought twice for friends as gifts over the years. So I don't own a copy of it, but I've bought it as gifts, and I've never gotten it to the table. And it's the Grand Austria Hotel.
I want to play it.
Yeah, it's one that it's kind of I feel like it's in my wheelhouse of the games that I love and the game mechanics and style that I be into. And like I said, I bought it for friends, knowing that they are into the same game types, or the theme of it is you're running a hotel and it's all about service. One of my friends who works in the service industry, I bought it for him because I figured it kind of what you do for a living. Here you go, but I just never got to play it. So I go over to their house and we play other games, and I keep forgetting that they own a copy. I'm like, let's play this game. So yeah, I want to get that one played. So
that was on
Austria
my short
Hotel.
list. That was would have been in my top 10, probably 7 or 8. But yep, that was definitely on my list.
Yep,
That's a good one.
Any other stunners you have for us, Mike? You've been stunning us.
Yeah. Do it again. You're not going to be able to reveal your number 1. So go ahead.
Number 1 and 2 keep going back and forth, but
No
I'm going
pressure.
to I'll mention this one as number 2.
Okay.
7 Wonders.
what?
7 Wonders.
Carlos is shaking his head.
I'm not as disappointed by 7 Wonders.
Yeah.
7 Wonders is a game I did not play for a while, but I did play it a long time ago. But
And
I
eventually
played-
did get it to the table.
Yeah.
And I played 7 Wonders Duel.
Yep.
Many times. I like that game. There's no reason why I don't think I would like 7 Wonders, but
Yeah.
it just nobody's ever suggested it or pulled it out to play, when we had game days or whatever. And it's another one, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but every time somebody talks about it, I wish I could join in on that conversation because I really want to play this game just to experience it.
This is probably one of the most played games that I've had in the last 15 years, because that's like every time we have a group of 6 or 7 of us that are gamers, like
Mm-hmm.
we go, well, we don't just want to play party games. Let's play 7 Wonders, because you can play it at large big time.
Yeah.
I will say this: I think Hadara might sort of replace 7 Wonders for me lately, because it adds a little to the gameplay. But yeah, this is one that if you
And I'm with him on the Hadara thing.
What's the player count for
But
Hadara, though?
5.
5. Okay.
5 for
it's
Hadara,
not as good.
and then
yeah.
I think 7 for 7
Wonders.
7 for
Yeah,
7
6
Wonders.
or 7, yeah.
So if you're at 5 players, I think Wayne's right with Hadara.
Yeah, I agree.
But at 7, I think this is and has been and continues to be maybe the ultimate quick 7-player game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't think
I
of any
feel
others right
so
off the top of my
ashamed.
head. Yeah.
Well, you should be.
I am.
That's another big one.
What could be number 1? Like,
Well,
Yeah.
this is going to get us to
Real
our
stunner.
number ones here. And Mike, in your best ready, set, bet announcer voice,
Uh-oh.
walk us
He
into...
didn't practice for this.
I didn't practice. I'm being put on the spot.
That's how I do.
For the millions in attendance and the thousands watching worldwide, let's get ready to rumble!
Number 1. All right, my number 1. And I'm embarrassed about this one because this is probably one of the highest in the BGG rankings, like in the ranking boards that I not only have not played, right? Because that's already a shame, but also own. Everdell.
Everdell.
And not none of the new Everdales and not none of the Far Shore, but Everdell from 2018, number 32 on the BGG rankings. I own it, and I have never played it.
I can tell you right now, Rob doesn't even.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
like,
completely-
whatever.
Yeah, that one did not do it for me. I've played it twice now, and it's okay.
And that's got to be the influence.
Yeah.
Because I
of that.
remember the day I walked into your turn, because I was coming in late, and I think I think that's the day that we may have played Jamie Stegmaier's Red Rising, because I think we stayed late that evening. But Rob was finishing up a game of Everdell, and just him walking away from the table to come chat with me, for them to yell, "Hey, it's your turn, Rob," for him to go back and take his turn. It kind of made me say, like, oh, wow, so maybe this isn't...
Well, at the end of the game, last couple of rounds, I went and started setting up another game in between my turns. That's how involved in that game I was.
And I think that really impacted me, even though I own Everdell,
Yeah,
and everyone tells me it's amazing,
it's good.
and it's great, and it's beautiful, and it's fun.
It's pretty.
But maybe I've never had the desire to really set it up and play it. I just got to get it off my shelf of shame so I can maybe get rid of it if I don't want it, sell it, move on.
You might like
Whatever.
it. In the chat,
Like,
I say,
you'll get rid of it.
Kyle likes it. Sam likes it. I mean, a lot of people like it. You're right. I mean, it's way up on the list for a reason.
It's. Oh, go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
I would say it's pretty. The bits are nice. The little squishy berries and the little pieces of wood and all the components in it are like a deluxe game. But it was okay. It's a tableau builder. You're trying to combo some things. It was okay.
I own everything for it. I think it's a good game. I just remember the first time I taught Rob the game. this is like the final round. Like there's 4 rounds, and each round is going to last a little bit longer because you're gaining a worker each round. But the last round, you gain 2 workers, and Rob had this ridiculous combo going on where it was just like.
Just did the same thing.
We
over
all
and
took
over.
our turn, and Rob was going.
Just
and
trigger
going,
the same thing again.
And
Yeah.
going.
Just trigger the same thing
And it was
again.
just like, okay, this is fucking ridiculous. Oh,
It gets-
I mean, this is, you'll have to beat that out. This is getting ridiculous here. And I could tell, like, after the game was over, Rob was just kind of like, you know, okay.
Yeah, it got to where I just triggered my same engine over and over. I did this to do that, to do that.
Did
do
you
that,
win, though?
Turnover. I
Oh,
don't remember. It's been a while. I think I did.
I think
but
you
yeah.
wiped the floor with us on
Yeah,
that game.
it's been a while since then, but yeah.
All right, Everdale, my number 1. Rob.
All right, my number 1. This one is embarrassing for me. So again, maybe this will be a theme as we go around the table here. So again, the way I started my list was looking at the top 50 on the BGG list, and the one that's right up there, almost at the very, very top that I've never played. We've talked about this on the show a lot because of our friend Ron Fraser, especially. But this is War of the Ring. So that's my 2-player game. You had your 2-player game on there, Wayne, Star Wars Rebellion. But War of the Ring is one I should have played far too long ago. I'm a big fan. I'm not as big a fan as some of The Hobbit and the series and the trilogy. I've read all the books. I've read, all of that, watched all the movies. Pretty big fan. But War of the Ring, an epic 2-player, I guess about a 3, 4, 5 hour game, depending on how you play it. They've come out with several expansions. Actually, I just heard they're coming out with another expansion for it. They just announced. So a game that's been around for, I don't know how long this one's been out there, but they're still working on stuff. They're still expanding things. They're adding new miniatures, whole new faction. This is a game that Ron Fraser and I have talked about rectifying for the last couple of Dice Towers, but it's just one of those big games that you got to really plan it. You got to set aside time to do it. It's going to be, like I say, 3, 4, 5 hours, and we just haven't made it happen. But I'm dying to play it. I know. I think William has it, and he's offered to bring it over and play it. But we just have never gotten to it. So I think you can play it at 2 or 4. From what I understand, it's really a 2-player game, much
Really
like
is,
Rebellion. Yeah.
I have I have the first edition with the expansions.
Okay.
And then but so it's like, I don't know how much is different between the first and second edition, but yeah, it's been a long time since I played it. The one time I played it, it was really fun, but it's a, 2 players, you're going to spend a good chunk of the day, type thing, but it's a good one.
That's when I got to get played. So that's my number 1.
War of the Ring.
War of the Ring.
War of the Ring. All right.
Mine.
So my number 1 is, since I'm the guy who's played all the ugly boxes and the old dudes on the covers and the old Euro gamer, I looked for the one old game that is a big game that I have not yet ever played, and I actually own a copy of this one. It's never been played, and that's Power Grid.
Well,
I've never gotten Power Grid.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I think we probably all own this one. I own it. I see it on Carlos's shelf. Mike, do you own this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all own it.
Where Wayne sits, he literally sits right across from it.
Yeah,
You
I
can see it.
right across
Yeah,
the way.
I have many times just seen it across, like over your shoulder. I'm like, oh, yeah, Carlos owns a copy of that too. I wonder if it's been unplayed like mine.
No, that one's been played. It's a
15
good game.
years, whatever. Yeah, I have wanted to play this game for so many years, and it just has never. Yeah, Nick.
You're all canceled.
Yeah, all canceled. We're all canceled.
Don't wait till he hears my
played
number
it, so I just want to be
one.
clear.
Just
We
wait.
all own it,
Yeah.
and I think we probably all played it. It's just Wayne.
Except for me.
Yeah,
I've
Wayne
just
doesn't play
never,
it. Yeah.
just never got it to the table. It's like one
Yeah.
of those games that just kept slipping through. So
And you know what got me itching to play that again? Is the announcement of the new Catan, the Energy Catan.
Oh yeah.
And then our play
I was
of
gonna say,
Manhattan
Energy Empire.
Project,
Yeah.
Energy
Yeah,
Empire.
That got me thinking about it again. Yeah.
All those things got me thinking about this game. And the new one from Matt Leacock, the one about the climate and energy and getting like solar energy.
Yep.
All those
yeah.
games
Oh, yeah.
together
Mhm.
got me thinking about playing Power Grid again.
Yep.
I think a lot of times it doesn't get, because I know that if you have less than that max player count, you have to like block off half the board, and
Yeah.
Yeah, but that really doesn't
Doesn't do
I don't
much
think
good,
that
yeah.
negatively affects
No.
gameplay. I would recommend at least 3 to 4
Yeah.
people. But,
Yeah.
just because of the
good.
bidding style
Yeah.
for your
well,
power
here we go.
plays.
So I think the one thing we're seeing though is that we could easily get most of these played this
Yeah.
year.
For sure. if we made an effort. Yeah, but Power Grid is definitely a lot of people say it's Math, the board game, and it kind of is. There's a little bit of stuff going on. There's some drafting and bidding. Well, not drafting, bidding, and some other things going on. But that last round of Power Grid is going to get you a bulk of your points. And if you math out that last round where you have just enough stuff to power all your stuff and not have a bunch of leftover, and you maximize that last turn, you're going to do pretty well.
Kind of like that Russian Railroads feel.
Yeah,
like that kind of that payoff that we got playing Russian Railroads is kind of similar payoff you'll get from Power Grid.
Yep.
And if you get too far behind, it's very, very hard to catch up. And win the game. But it's still fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a good experience. You'll enjoy playing it.
Cool. There you go.
All right, Mike, hit us with the shocker here.
All right, my number one. This is going to take my my board gamer card away from me. And I almost played it.
Worse than Castles of Burgundy. Worse than Viticulture. Worse than every Lacerda game.
I think so. Almost got a chance to play it at OrcaCon.
Hold on, let's guess. Anybody any guesses? I mean, what epic game could this be that Mike has never played? Any thoughts?
And it's not that old either.
Is it in the top 50 BGG? Do you know?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh,
actually, I think it's. Let me see here.
Could be like Pandemic or something, could it?
It can't be that
Pandemic
simple.
Legacy? No, can't be that.
So it's a 2015 title.
Oh, 2015 was a good year.
It's within the top 50 of BGG.
Huh. I don't know.
All right, hit it.
Blood Rage.
Oh,
what?
Man. All right. Well, not as appalling, but that is one you
That's
should
pretty
have played.
appalling.
That is pretty bad, especially as much as that game got played in our circles. Like I can't remember a time we didn't see it get played at a game day.
Yeah.
At your turn at Armada, and you lived like a stone's throw away from Armada. That thing was being played there all the time.
I'll hand my cred card over right now.
Actually, according to Sam, it was already taken away.
Oh, I already took your card away. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the guesses in the chat there. Jim said Gloomhaven or Monopoly. Nick said Gloomhaven. Great Western Trail with Samantha. So
what you don't know is Eric Lang has sent Vikings to your house. They're on their way now.
Exactly. Well, deservedly so. Somebody's going to swat me now. So, I've actually played Gloomhaven. I played the first two scenarios twice before I sold the game twice as well. So.
Hurts.
And I remember when I moved into this house 8+ years ago, it was empty, and the family was away. So Rob came over and we played, I think, like 10 games in a row of Blood Rage 2-player on a plastic table in the middle of an empty living room.
Yep, on your living room. We just kept playing it over and over.
Over and over, just to learn the cards.
Was it during a storm or something? Was it a hurricane or maybe
I can't remember. We just wanted to learn the cards. We really wanted to be like the best at it. Like we were just playing through it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's a game that it's famous for. If somebody knows the game, plays against a newbie, you're going to get destroyed. You got to know the cards and how the cards combo up and work in that one. And if not, you'll get killed every time. But it's a great game. And Eric Lang, I mean, he's one of my all-time favorites. So
I think that's his best game, though, right?
I would agree.
Probably,
compared to, I would rate it higher than Ankh. I'd rate it higher than Rising Sun.
Yeah, for sure.
And I haven't played Rising Sun.
Yeah,
and I still have not played Blood Rage.
What'd you think of Rising Sun? Did you like it?
I thought it was good. I didn't like it enough to keep it though.
That's how I felt.
Selling it.
It was good.
Yeah, he's done the
Mafia. Wasn't a Blood Rage.
What was the Mafia game he did?
Corleone's Empire.
Was it Corleone's? Okay,
that was underrated.
Al Capone. Was it? Oh no, The Godfather. He did The Godfather.
Godfather. That's right. It was
Godfather. Corleone's Empire.
Oh, there you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's our 5 games that we somehow haven't played yet.
I'll log off now, and it's been nice knowing you guys.
Go to the corner.
Go cry in the corner. Yeah.
In your 2 minutes, feel shame.
Want to hit those phones while we keep talking here?
No, I'm going to go grab some more beer.
Okay.
And then I'm going to open up that phone line because you don't know how to handle the phones.
No, it's way over there.
So
I can't get over there.
I'm going to go grab some beer
for a while. Right?
All right. We'll carry the show for a minute here.
We'll carry the show.
I don't know if we want to get into. We'll talk recent plays sometime, but that's kind of a bigger topic. We may not want to start that right now.
I want to throw out, and it's kind of in the news. I think at least, and we know that, and this is kind of a plug for our friends at the Tampa Gaming Guild. We know that unfortunately, when Sam and James came to my house for a game day, it actually ended up being the same Sunday that Tom Vassell ended up just randomly showing up at the Tampa Gaming Guild. So they missed him showing up.
Man.
In the at the table, the Dice Tower, which is Eric Summer, Tom Vassell, and I apologize, I forget the new woman's name who joined the cast. She's pretty cool. I think she's married or works with Robert Geislinger at Arcane Wonders or something like that. Anyway, he talked about Tampa Gaming Guild and said, hey, so yeah, I was, over Christmas or after New Year's, I was at my daughter's, because she had a second grandkid, and all the kids were at the hotel playing tablets, and I was bored and wanted a game, so I just looked it up and found the Tampa Gaming Guild, and I just showed up. And he spent about 2 minutes on the podcast talking about how awesome the Tampa Gaming Guild was, and that it was nice. He said probably wasn't a lot of people on this game night because it was middle of the holidays, but they had the Tampa Bridge Club, and so it was pretty cool that he found them somehow and went and then turned around and sort of gave them props on the podcast. So I imagine that there'll be a little uptick in people looking at the Tampa Gaming Guild based on that. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah.
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Connor from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Hey, Connor, how are you?
Hey.
My man.
Your man.
My man, I'm finally back. It's been too long.
It's been a while.
Well, good episode to jump in on. We're spilling the beans on some shameful situations here for games we have yet to play. So glad to hear from you. What do you got going on? Show's yours for the next 10 minutes.
10 minutes, my lord. Okay. Well, I'm finally back. I'm finally back around Civilization. I just got hired to a full-time job. I'm gonna have adult money at the end of the month.
Awesome. Congrats, man.
I need help picking out good board games to start building my collection. Now that I don't have to buy $5 Kickstarters, I can afford the big stuff now.
You're not quite pulling the money in or pulling the games in like Jeremy. You don't have it like Jay does.
I wish. No, if I had the money that Jeremy had to get deluxeified everything Kickstarter all in, it'd be great. But I don't have that. But I think I can still get some good games. I just need help. So what are some really good games that you think I should add? That I should start my collection with?
Well, let me ask a couple questions. We always got to kind of preface. So what is your typical gaming group size? How many people do you normally play with?
Well, last I recall, he had a nice RPG group going.
Okay.
So that would be.
I have one. I still have one going.
Oh gosh, good job.
But do they board game?
Mm-hmm. I've changed groups. So my original group, last time we talked about them, my original group, they're still around. We still want to play. We just not had time. So I've had a new group that I've been playing with, but we've been keeping that up. In terms of board games, I mean, I'm not especially picky. There's only one board game ever on planet Earth that I absolutely hate with a passion, and that's Dark Moon.
Okay.
I mean, so if you have an RPG group, have you played Lords of Waterdeep?
I think so.
Oh wait, no,
worker
what?
Placement.
You haven't
putting out buildings to make additional worker spots where people can put their.
The theming there is fantastic.
Jeremy has a copy of it. Yeah. I have played Lords of Waterdeep.
So that's one that I think it stands the test of time, and if it's a great one that I've used in the past to get RPG gamers to board game, because especially many of the people that I have RPG with, they're D&Ders, so they know Waterdeep, they know Forgotten Realms, so they can read the cards and they're crafting a story as part of this worker placement game. So it's an immersive. It can be an immersive game for RPG players.
I'd say another one that helps kind of cross that gap from RPG to board game would be anything in the role player universe. The only one I've actually played is the role player, the original. There's a couple different expansions for it, but you're rolling handfuls of dice, you're drafting cards, you're manipulating dice to try to get statistics for different things like strength and charisma and match a sheet that you take at the beginning. You're trying to hit certain numbers by triggering abilities to roll dice up and down and swap dice into different places. And so that's a good one. Again, it brings in a lot of different elements of RPGs. The base game, there's no real combat, but one of the expansions brings in bad guys that you can actually fight instead of going to the market and buying gear and items that you do kind of a set collection thing with. You can then go fight bad guys to make more money and do different things to get points. And so there's the expansions add a couple new ways to play it. But if you're looking to bridge the gap with that RPG group, I think that's a really good one. And then there's several, as I say, the role-playing universe. Mike is familiar with Lockup. I've never actually actually played Lockup, but that's another game that's set in that same
That's a fun one.
universe. And then there's at least one more. I forget what the other title.
I was going to say, kind of expanding on what you were saying, if I'm sure there are plenty of people out there selling copies of it, Role Player Adventures.
There you go.
Which is a little, it's definitely narrative driven, but it has a lot more of checking, like it has a way of mitigating dice, but you're always like rolling for, for strength or for knowledge, and then there's ways of mitigating it with cards in your hand, and just the way that they build up the baddies that you're fighting. You may have like a goblin that is angered, and then it'll like tack on another card that kind of gives it whatever abilities on top of what it normally is. But that one's really cool as far as story driven, RPG driven, because you are building up your character over time. It's very similar to the role players, like the regular role player series, and I think there's actually a way that you can take your character from the beginning of the role player all the way through to Role Player Adventures and play with that particular character that you built yourself and continue on.
And speaking of possibly limited budgets, I know you're coming into some more money, but these are, I think all the games in the series are pretty inexpensive. They don't really have big over glorified editions. They're all pretty basic, and so they're pretty affordable.
See, the tough part, Connor, because I have some games, in mind. We talked about some of them today. But I don't want to compete with the RPG piece of what y'all do, right? However, I know as a dungeon master in the past, and Wayne may feel this, I don't know if you commiserate with this, Wayne, sometimes the DM needs a break. Sometimes we need to play a game where everyone's playing together and no one's having to take the lead. In that case, for $50, because you're going to have some grown-up money, and I don't think you're pushing 5 kids like I am at this point, so you can actually use it. I'm going to recommend Freelancers. Forgotten Waters, right? Forbidden Waters.
Forgotten?
It's up
Waters.
here somewhere.
Forgotten Waters.
Forgotten Waters was done by Colby Dowk's company, Plaid Hat Games. And they do an AI or computer-controlled game, RPG style, very low on mechanisms, like very, very light on mechanisms, very much focused on story and story decisions. And the laughs that we got from that was great. They just came out with Freelancers, which changes the setting from a pirate setting to a land-based setting. The world has ended. The apocalypse has come. All humans are gone. And now critters have taken over, kind of mutated, and they're exploring what was left behind. And the computer controls all the narrative. You make decisions, but it's very light, very fast. That's my recommendation, Freelancers. That way you can get a break and not have to set up the game.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like there was a board game that I found, or I guess it's a board game. I would say it's a board game. I can't think of the name of it just yet, but there's a PDF, like it's on like Google. You can just type in the PDF and it's there. It's like super easy. But you get you get a set of D&D dice, the basics set of 7, and it's a game where you are building out you would build out like almost like a campaign setting using the dice. It's entirely random, but you can also get your D&D group together, or get just any group together, and have them make decisions. You can delegate and say, well, this person's going to worry about, anytime we have a weather decision, you worry about the weather, you worry about the land, you worry about the agriculture, and then it's almost like you become the pantheon, you become the gods, and it builds up to this massive setting. So that way you can work on a setting with one group, play with another group, or do all together. That's kind of what you were just talking about. It kind of sounds like the same idea,
but with less commitment, right? So now with the system that they have, and the narration is wonderful. And it's it's a web-based program, so you don't need a computer or a tablet to download anything. You don't need an app. It's all web-based. It's simple, and you punch in a code, so you can use any device to continue the game later. A full session, like a full adventure, start to finish, may take you between 3 and at most 4 hours, right? So, and you can save halfway. And I know for an RPG group, asking you to finish a game in 4 hours isn't asking a lot of you. That's probably your regular night, right? Like you'll finish it in one night. You'll finish a full story arc in one night, and you can DLC, downloadable content, new stuff to be able to continue with different stories and different adventures. It's what you described there with your PDF. However, a lot less work.
One more suggestion also, and I think Wayne would agree with this one, Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, which is also driven by, it is app-based, but it is driven by an app, and it's it's slightly different every time you play it, depending on your player count and what characters you're choosing. Like the in-game story may be the same. There's multiple scenarios with just the base box, but the tiles are laid out differently a lot of the time, where it's not exactly the same. But that one is another one that's very app-driven, where you're also rolling for success, and you can mitigate it using tokens that you gain over time, and you're solving puzzles that are app-based. And to me, that's another cool one if you're looking to get immersed into a story-driven type game.
And Wayne, you threw one in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say I threw a couple in the chat actually. You have Cartographers is a nice roll and write, not roll and write, flip and write, really, where you're kind of creating a D&D map. So like me, if you were like me in high school and you sit around drawing D&D maps all the time on graph paper, that's a great game. And then Tyrants of the Underdark is a fantastic game that I can't believe I didn't play until like the last year or so. It's a really good game, very thematic to the D&D world. So I think if you're a D&D player, then that's another game that's right up the alley of something you want to play.
Oh yeah,
I will second Tyrants of the Underdark.
Great game.
Rob will third it.
It's on our top 20 list. Yeah.
Mike will fourth it.
Yeah.
Especially if your group has played actual like D&D. Connor, I don't know if y'all have done just like 5e D&D or even any other edition of D&D.
But we play 5e.
If anything drow at all, right? If you've read any of the series with Drizzt.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Aziz in there. It's like a hockey player. I don't know how to pronounce that. But I've read the books. If you've played any of them, that game right there will be your board game. So not your adventure narrative story, but like board game. Like you will have so much fun playing that board game.
I would say right now, that's probably my favorite deck builder right now. It's got a couple of mechanisms, deck building, area control, but the deck building portion of it is probably my favorite right now.
Well, Connor, we gave you a bunch of good titles there. You had a great question for us, so thank us for your call.
And let us know what you buy.
We did a great job for you.
Oh, no, it was really good. I really appreciate it.
Have a good night. Great to hear from you.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling in, Connor.
See it.
Phone lines are open. 813-618-7099 is the number. That was our buddy Connor from Lafayette.
Yeah, we could have gone on that topic all night. I was going to say we were just trying to bridge that gap from the D&D stuff, but I was like, even if we just want to hit party games, I was going to mention Ready, Set, Bet, Green Team Wins.
Connor's like, I got $50. Where do I go?
Yeah, exactly.
We're like, all right,
here's
hold my beer.
$1,000.
Here it comes.
Here's $500 worth of games, easy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Phone lines are open, folks. Jump in, talk to us. The original main topic was the first, 3/4 of an hour of the show.
Yeah.
We talked about our top 5 games that we should have played that we'd never played. Yeah. So if you're just jumping into the show now, waiting for your phone calls to hear more from you about what you have going on. Hey,
there we go.
All right.
Speaking of the MFer that owns the game.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to hear about some guys now. Nick Oben on the phone.
Hello, and good evening. Happy Thursday, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Doing good, Nick. How are you?
Doing good, man.
This is Nick from West Virginia.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We know
we thought you were Ron Fraser.
Listen, if it was a top 5 games you need to get back to playing, then mine would just be Sleeping Gods 5 times.
And Frosthaven.
Oh, actually, no. So I was going to say Sleeping Gods 4 times and Frosthaven. Yes, we do need. We've been delinquent on that for sure.
Yeah.
No, but by the way, great starting segment. Love that. You're probably going to get that a lot in the chat and on the Discord and other callers. But I love that 45-minute segment. That was a lot of fun to listen to. Good job.
Nice, thanks.
That was fun. More of that.
What you got going on?
So I've played games and am happy. I kind of walked around my house here and then actually cheated a little bit trying to look at BGG and be like, well, what's like a top-rated game that I haven't played? I'm not gonna lie, you guys made me feel pretty good because like y'all's list are embarrassing.
Well, there you go. Mike made me feel real good. Yeah.
I'm having to dig a little bit, being like, you know, because a lot of those like very just typical. Of course, everyone's played that. Like I have played that, like at least once. Like you know, a lot of them have only played once. But by and large, I don't think I have any on my top 5 that are like, holy crap, what do you mean you've never played? You know, I don't want to pick on anyone, but all of you had really bad things. So.
I'll pick on not anyone, just all of y'all.
Yeah. Well, what do you think your biggest surprise would be, Nick? What do you think your the one game that you want to get to the table really bad that you think all of us would be surprised about? I'm putting you on the spot.
As far as the biggest, no. I've got the list here. I'm trying to think what's jumping right to number 1. Let me do this. Let me do my easy shelf of shame games. Like I own these games.
Okay.
I know I want to play them, and I haven't got them. And actually, Carlos stole my thunder a little bit. The first one I wrote down, though I think it's number 5 on the list, is indeed Forgotten Waters. So I know that I will enjoy this game with my kids.
Yeah,
like I know it's going to be fun.
I can already see you wearing your leather boots,
eye patch,
right?
Bandana.
I mean, I've already seen you dressed up as a pirate. So, like,
yep.
Yes, you will enjoy this.
Yes, and I mean, and the real shame is, I mean, this is by no means a new game. I think that I wrapped this game as Santa Claus to the, you know, to Nick, Landis, and Leo, to the 3 boys here, and put it under the tree like 3 Christmases ago or something. I mean, that's how long it's been sitting there waiting to be played. For a multi-year shelf of shame that it's just silly. What else? Okay, Red Rising is on that list. Not because I think it's an amazing game that I'm going to love. I know, but I own it. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I went to the trouble of reading the Red Rising books just so then I could, you know, fully immerse myself and play the game, and then I never played the game.
After having put that much effort into it, it needs to be on the list.
Right. I have to agree with Nick there, though, because I literally also read the Red Rising books recently. You know, in the last year, I read the first 3 books because Carlos said they were good, but then also because we were going to play Red Rising after I read the books. So, Nick, and when you want to get that to the table, give me a call. I'm there.
Okay. You were in the same boat. You also have not actually even played it.
I have not. No.
You two can be disappointed at the same
time. A room full of
so The Hobbit in Louisiana and I would disagree with you. Okay. It's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I'll throw this one since we're moving nice and quick. This one actually I'm super excited to hear on Rob's list because I don't know if you saw my comment. I've got all of the bones. So too many bones. Too many bones.
Wait, you have them but have not played it?
He just got them though.
Correct. I did. Oh yeah, Josh, what was it 6 months ago? You know, whatever it was, 4 to 6 months ago, whatever. And I did the big thing. I did the thing. Like Mike, you remember they ran that campaign, right? Where you could, I got the chest. I got that like fancy chest that fits perfectly into a calyx.
Yeah, a calyx-sized chest with the drawers.
Yeah.
Yes, with the drawers. Yes, I got all that, and I have like all the characters, and I just knew all of them. But I mean, the stack of boxes. I posted a picture of that. It's 6 boxes or something worth of content, right? So it's enough. Yeah. So I have a lot of bones. Definitely would love to play that. And that thus concludes the list of games I own. And now here, I'm cheating. I have 3 more because the list one that I have the list for Carlos. Actually, 2 for Carlos. That I think you're going to roll your eyes at. Undaunted. I have never played any form of the Undaunted series.
Okay, that's a good one.
What's hilarious is I went back today and looked at our old videos, Rob, in December 12th, 2019, you and I did a video on Undaunted.
Okay.
It was probably the most cringe,
Oh.
sad YouTube video I've ever watched.
Oh, come on.
Amazing. Amazing.
Hi, I'm Carlos. We're the Beans and Dice podcast.
I'm Rob.
And
Nice to see you.
we played Undaunted.
It was a cool game.
I tell you what, I've gone back and watched some of the earlier videos too. Like
Uh-oh.
there's a couple where you guys are like, there's like a little like table between you. You're like sitting in like plastic chairs or something.
Nice.
But that's awesome though. Everyone's got to,
Got to start
how
somewhere.
far you've
Start
come.
somewhere.
You know? It's crazy. Yeah.
Undaunted.
Well,
Undaunted's a
well-
great one. Like Nick, you got to get that one to the table. Rob and I got to play it a few more times this week.
Yeah.
It's hopefully leading us to us getting Undaunted Battle of Britain off my shelf.
Oh, yeah, I like to play that.
There you go. Well, and what we could do, I mean, just kind of like in painting, how they tell you to not paint over your first minis that you paint, but rather just paint more minis, and then you can see your progression. If you want, I could come over, we could play Undaunted and record a video and just see how far we've come at the YouTube channel.
Give it the beans.
There we go.
Like updated. Like
There you go.
5 years later, or 4 years later, the beans.
Yeah. I'm down.
There you go. All right. Another one here, Carlos. I think you recommended this one to me personally. I don't know. I don't know who owns it. Hopefully, someone knows. Star Wars Rebellion.
This is Rob.
That's me.
No.
Yep. Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about that one a little earlier with.
I would have never recommended it to you. So you must have been thinking of Rob, the other brown guy with glasses.
Could be, yeah.
Rob.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. Are you a fan, Rob?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Like I said, we talked about it a little bit earlier. It was on Wayne's list of his top 5 not played.
Oh, one. Okay.
Yeah, they fixed the rules, so I have not played it since. Well, they fixed the combat, which is a pretty decent part of the game. You're doing quite a bit of combat in the game, and they completely changed the way combat works and the mechanisms for it. And everybody who's played it with the expansion, I haven't heard of anybody who say that it's worse. It's definitely far better. And I enjoyed the base game without it, although I did always feel the combat was wonky. So I've been itching. I mentioned earlier in the show that I've read the rules to the expansion. Expansion streamlined a few other things, but the combat was the main fix. And I just never have gotten it back to the table. And it's been, gosh, that expansion's been out probably 7-8 years, and I definitely want to get it back and play it. So yeah, I mean, there's several people. Wayne wants to play it. Carlos wants to play it with the new combat rules. I want to play it again. So we definitely need to make that happen sometime this year.
Yeah, we can get like a 8-player game.
Yeah, for a two player.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I missed that first part of the show, I guess.
Oh yeah, no problem.
But, no, good to go. I will say that is the only. I had to go to BGG to find that one. I was trying to find there must be some really popular game that I've never played, and that is the only game I think in the top 20 that I haven't played.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, and I remember it coming up at least at some point previously in the show. All right. And now, if you're keeping track, I have actually already provided 5 games, but I'm cheating and doing the 6th one because this one actually is the maybe biggest surprise. Only not because it's been around a long time. Actually, I think it's pretty new-ish. But everyone in our group seems to play it and love it, and I have never not played a single minute, never looked at a rule, don't know how to play it at all. And that would be Heat. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was interesting, actually. And I'll just bring up here real quick. Tom, they were talking about they're doing their top 100 games on Tom Vassell on.
No.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, on Dice Tower. There we go. That's the name of the thing. Yeah, that little channel called Dice
A small
Tower.
channel
Yeah,
out of South
exactly.
Florida.
But Tom was that was on somebody's list. I don't remember if it was his or one of the lists that Heat came up fairly recently, and he made the comment. He's like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody who's played Flamme Rouge and then played Heat and said that they like Flamme Rouge better. And immediately in my head, I was like, we had a whole episode on that where I talked about why I like Flamme Rouge better than Heat.
So I'm with you, Rob.
He obviously okay. And he obviously hasn't listened to the show recently, but yeah, I still think I've played Heat now, especially on BGA. I played it probably close to 10 times on BGA. I played it in Louisiana for the convention out there last year. I played it a couple more times in person, so I played it 10 plus times between BGA and in person. I still think I like Flamme Rouge better. I still like having the two different racers, having your rouleur and your sprinter, having to decide how to play the cards, which one to race out front, have the other ones try to draft. I agree that Heat is probably a much more popular IP. You're racing cars, old style Formula One race cars. So it's probably more popular, more in the mainstream. But I really like some of the tactical decisions you make in Flamme Rouge that you don't really get in Heat. I mean, Heat, you've got a few decisions. When to press it, when to take some heat into your engine, and how to get rid of that heat later. But I really like that two bicyclist decisions you have to make sometimes in Flamme Rouge. So
I think I enjoy Heat. I liking it more as I played a few times in real life and now a bunch on BGA. And definitely Heat gets better when you add in some of the expansions. The cards and those things. But what and this maybe is a BGA thing, and maybe it's because we're playing with some people who know how to play it, some people who don't. I feel like Heat has a bit of a runaway issue.
Yep. I do too.
Where when that leader,
what's funny is I was watching a video about Heat today where the content creator said the opposite. He says he feels that because of the catch-up mechanisms, it kind of keeps everyone together. I find Heat has more decision points than Flamme Rouge did for me. Where Flamme Rouge, I just felt my decisions didn't impact as much because I could always be a part of a pack. As long as I stay within a pack, I was fine.
I feel just the opposite. Again, we could probably go about all this all night, but Heat, it feels like you've got these 5 cards, and usually you're playing between 2 and 4 of them, and so you're just playing whatever cards are in your hand, basically, and there's not a whole lot of decisions.
You play different than I do, Rob. You play very conservative.
I guess. Although when I played on BGA, I actually maxed out.
Have you changed?
Yeah, I maxed out my heat the first half and then managing the second half. So yeah.
Okay, so that's the part that I enjoy is finding the way to use my heat to push my luck.
To me,
to flip when it matters.
It seems like it's always obvious to me now. It's like now is when I want to take that extra 2 heat because I can then slipstream, get the extra 2 movement,
cool off.
It seems like it's really obvious choices. Yeah.
You see what you started, Nick?
Yeah. We took your time, Nick.
I apologize, and it was my 6th game too. So this is bonus
fight.
I hate it when mom and dad fight.
That's obviously it's a game that's getting a lot of attention right now, and what surprises me the most of that I haven't played it is you guys mentioning it. You're playing it all the time on BGA. I see it pop up on BGA, and I just have never joined one of those games. I need to hop in and do it.
Kind of get that out of the way.
Yeah. That one should be easy. And then too many bones is going to be the big challenge, I think, to do. But this has been good. Real quick, I'll point out I actually played some games since we last spoke. I went over. Miss Sam was kind enough to invite us over. A bunch of us were gonna go play Cthulhu Wars with him, and then that fell through last minute, unfortunately. But Sam came to the rescue for me. I cleared my schedule. I was ready to go, and we played 2 great games. First in Flight, a 2023 title. Rated 7.6 on BGA, and it was fun. It is a blast of a pressure luck deck builder with the theme coming through. So it's set in like the Wright brother era's First in Flight, trying to fly these biplanes further than your opponents before you crash, and you invariably will crash if you push your luck too far because it's like experimental planes that you're trying to build here to be first in flight. And the mechanism, I've never played a deck builder like this where you are really, really trying to just build this engine such that you end up playing your whole deck whenever you go to finally do a fight. There are other deck builders out there that definitely let you spam cards, you draw new cards, so that you can play new cards and whatnot. But here, the neat thing is you just keep playing cards from your deck. You don't have a hand. You just keep playing cards directly off the top card of your deck as long as you want. And so you're designing this deck to last longer, to just fly a little farther. And it really feels like the deck is your plane, and you have got to design this thing to just make it 1 meter further than your opponent, right? You know you're going to crash or you have to land because you can't push it any further, but you just got to press your luck a little further and make it 1 meter past your opponent. It's a really neat concept. The idea of the unlimited play As long as you want to keep pushing, you just keep pushing all you want. So that was great. And then last one I'll mention, playing this game actually saved it from being on my top 5 haven't played. This is the first time I've ever played smartphone. So we got a game with smartphone. And that definitely would have probably made the top 5 list. I can't believe I haven't played that.
That's what I'm talking
and
about.
that was a lot of fun. That was great.
That's a good one.
That's top shelf for me. That's top shelf game.
Well, that's
I
a what,
freaking
Dice
love
Tower
that game,
Essential,
yeah.
I believe. Yeah, that's a good one. That was that the first Dice Tower? No, that was the second Dice Tower Essential game. But yeah, great game. We played that not too long after it came out. I think we played it at. Did we play it first at Dice Tower East? I can't remember. But yeah, real good game. Impressive. It's not a looker. It's very plain.
I think Mike would disagree with you. Mike
I would
introduced.
disagree with you.
Really?
I know my boy. I know my boy.
It's a very plain looking game, I think. Yeah.
I just love if
Elegant.
a white like a very lack of color on the board. If you can do it right,
Yeah.
it looks so clean and just I'm
It's
like one of
clean.
those OCD people, so it totally fits in with my personality, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that game.
It's
So good.
minimalistic, yeah, but it's a great game. Mechanisms in it are a lot of fun, and
And I picked up the expansion that it has the 2-player board.
oh yeah,
To 3-player board, which really tightens it up and
1.1
gives it more
upgrade
availability.
or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, good.
Yeah, Sam showed me that. She had like all the, I guess, one expansion or that different board, but we played the Lucid board, which I was thankful for because it definitely opens up the game and you just we were able to kind of do what you want to do. But no, great. I enjoyed it. I like, Carlos, you'll appreciate this. I liked right away that just like so many other great games, it's a deterministic number of rounds, right?
Yep.
You see the end coming, and then each round has those phases you kind of walk right through. They're printed on the board. That
Print
was
on the
really
board.
nice.
Yeah,
So
just look right there
easy.
and see what
Sliding
happens. Yeah,
That
marker.
I don't know, not a cylinder, but a log.
hexagonal log thing. Yeah,
It's not a cube.
The marker.
But the marker, sliding that marker
log,
from
it's
phase to
log.
phase, just keeps
It's
it.
better than bad. It's good. Everyone loves the log. The one line you'll always hear that game when you go to explain it is, okay, we've got, what is it, 5 rounds with 8 phases per round. As soon as people hear the 8 phases, they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And you tell them, look, man, these phases are going to go by so fast. It's going to be such a quick game. And then you'll get like one round into it and they're like, you're right. These phases do go fast.
the thing that's so unique in that game is that little puzzle you have to do at the start of every round, where you
2
take
tablets.
tiles and you kind of have to overlap them and choose
Money.
which things you want to do. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, I gotta play that.
And this one, this one, big lesson, something that helped me edge out, actually, just barely edged out a victory in that game, was the turn order being determined on your price.
Yep.
Such an important strategy, and
It
really,
is.
really
Yep.
seen that. Cool. I got dinged on not selling my phone for as much as I could have. Because I went down where everyone else went up. So it's like, I went down to 4 when they went up to 6. So I could have stayed at 5, but
But you're
I
cranking them
needed to
out.
go first.
Yep.
Yeah, I needed to go first.
You're
And
watching
I
the
shred-
look on their faces as you begin filling
As you
the
fill in
markets
all
with
those
your
spaces.
product where they wanted to go. Oh, it's such a good feeling.
Yeah, but then you're selling
Yep.
them for dirt
Yep.
cheap. Yeah, so you got that trade off.
But that look was worth it.
Okay, all right.
Yep. It did work out. I was getting to the point where I felt like, so I happened to start in India. I was the company that starts in India, and I just broached out and like that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell a bunch of cheap phones. I'm going to flood the market in India and China, and then eventually head over to U.S. And it was good. It was fun times.
Nice.
But yeah, there you go. That's my need to play list, and I actually played a couple games last week. So,
Well done.
Nice.
Well done. We just got to get back to Frosthaven. I'm looking forward to it. I know. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's all about Rob.
Yep.
It's all about Rob.
Yeah, well, we were going to play last night, so that's fresh on my mind. We were going to play last night, and a couple things came up, so yeah, it's just it fell through at the last second. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that back to the table.
Nick,
We're gonna have to plan like 1 a.m. game day for that or something.
Yeah, or just we can make up for it just an all day. I know Joe said something about maybe an all day on a Saturday or Sunday or something. I'm down for that. We just got to pick the right one where we're all available, and then just get in 2, 3, 4 sessions.
Love it. Very good.
Sweet.
All right. Hey, thank you guys very much for having me on. Again, Really enjoyed the first session. Continue to do those top X lists.
Well, y'all throw those lists at us. What do you want to hear from us? For you folks at home, thank you, Nick, for bringing that up, and we appreciate the feedback. And we'll ask you, Nick, and everyone else on the line or in the chat, give us ideas of what you want to hear from us, what topics you want from us. So thank you, Nick, for your call.
Love you, Nick.
See you, man.
Did you say love you, Nick?
Love you, Nick. Yeah. I can love a man. It's
Love
okay.
He's secure. He's secure.
I'm all right with that.
I think the other thing is this is a good time to plug the Discord server because it's a channel for the show. So if you have topics you want to hear us talk about, throw it in the Discord server.
Yeah, and I'll put it in my handy dandy notebook and hope
whatever that thing is over there. Electronic tablet thingy.
Phone lines are open. 813-618-7099 is the number. Call in. Talk to us about what you've been going gaming, what you got, what games
stuff.
I like how Nick gave us his like top 7
we cut
games. We did 5.
We let people
and
take over the show. This
I'm
is the
sure
crap that happens.
Look, I'm sure if Nick goes through the top 100 or 200 games on BGG, he could find some games where we would all be like, "What, Nick?"
I was going to say I was going to ask him. I was getting ready to pull up the top 20 and just say, "All right, Nick, have you played this one? Have you played this one? Have you played this one?" Yeah. But maybe he has. I don't know. I mean, he plays a lot of games. He's got his own.
He did do a game a day
group
for an entire year. So
yeah, exactly. So he's got some cred. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get feisty.
I was going to say we got
let's
about
get
30
feisty.
minutes left. So let's make sure we hit the games we played.
Games we played. Robert and I played Jaipur.
That was Carlos's first play ever.
First play.
So good.
Jaipur.
So good.
We got some criticisms, but go ahead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The damn tokens.
Yeah,
it's after 10. I can say damn.
In the ass to set up.
Holy crap.
And reset every round.
And what's great was like whoever lost the last round,
we made
like you're fixing the tokens.
You set the next round.
You get to manage those tokens because you lost the last round.
Jaipur is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But then that led to the question of Jaipur or Lost Cities.
Jaipur.
And
Lost Cities.
Or Targi, actually.
Oh,
Target's another one in there,
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Hanamakoji. I was going to say Hanamakoji probably beats them all for me, but
that's a good one.
Hanamakoji or Lost
Jaipur's
Cities
really good. I think Jaipur more than Lost Cities. I think Targi probably more than Jaipur, and then Hanamakoji better than all of them.
But here's my differentiator between Lost Cities, because I haven't played Targi, which I was watching the 100 countdown that small channel from South Florida is doing.
Come on now, I haven't gone through
they
that
talked
yet.
about Targi and got me really interested in Targi.
Can be so mean, but yeah.
I have a
But
copy.
Jaipur stands out to me because it's not mean.
Yeah.
It's not mean. It's a good 2-player game when you're looking for a nice just a play.
Yeah.
Like not every 2-player game needs to be a knife fight in a phone booth.
Yeah.
As a lot of people like to say about Lost Cities and
Obviously you.
and I am a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot here.
All right.
So Jaipur to me has a place. I'm not getting rid of this. This is staying in the. Well, I don't get rid of it. Mike's right. I don't get rid of
doesn't
anything.
matter. Saying that doesn't mean anything. But
it's gonna be it's gonna be cycled in.
I say play it on BGA, play it online, because resetting it every round is a pain in the butt.
There's luck in there with the card draws and the flops that can help kind of just like fix your situation. Having the camels there to be able to trade for what you need. So if you build up a nice herd, you can trade use those camels to pick up anything you need. So there's a lot of good player experiences, good player feelings in Jaipur that Lost Cities just can't do for me.
Yeah.
So for that reason alone, I think Jaipur belongs in there. How am I feeling? Am I ready for like, let's go, let's fight? Maybe not Jaipur.
Yeah.
Right? But if I just, want to have a beer and pretzels evening, I think Jaipur is it for me.
All 4 of the games we mentioned are all on BGA, Carlos. So if you ever want to play any of them, let me know. I will gladly set up a game and we can play any 4 of those.
I'm just not a computer guy.
Like you ever say anything about Jaipur? Have you played?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
It says number 6 on
The most regretted not played games. Yeah.
What about Targi? Have you played Targi?
No.
Okay.
I've only played Targi with Wayne.
I heard Targi's a worker placement game.
Kind of is.
Kind of.
That's what Z called it, a worker placement game.
Sure, I guess.
So that really intrigued. That piqued my interest.
Selecting a row and a column, but
The intersection is the place where what you get.
Well, and you play not only where it intersects, but where you place. You also do.
Oh my gosh, I'm in. I'm so in. Who owns Targi?
I do.
Wayne does.
Wayne does.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's next time I see Wayne in person, we're gonna have to get that one to the table.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right,
Yes.
Jaipur. Oh yeah, I'll run down.
We're just gonna blast through ours, or we're gonna go around the table.
Knife fight in a phone booth
There you
is
go.
the feeling I got
Yeah.
out of this very tiny little game here. It's a small, almost like a button shy style
Yeah.
flip case. I remember these from when I was a kid.
Plastic wallet.
Like these little plastic wallets. But they're putting these 18 card games in them, and this game has 2 9-card decks, and then I believe 7 card location deck in it, and that's pretty much it, and a reputation card. And you're going to be playing cards to control one of 3 locations that are on the board, and if you can control those locations, you get them. This is Western Legends Showdown. It's from Matago. It's based off Western Legends. It's all the same quality of the cards, the nice linen finish, the beautiful artwork, that whole Western feel. You know, the art that you see from Western Legends, the same locations from Western Legends, the artwork from Western Legends, but it's this fast 5-10 minute game that you play, and this hurts. Playing with Rob hurts because it's like trying to figure out, how am I going to get control of this? And if one misstep, you're out, like you're losing the game. So this is those games that I was talking about, those 2-player games that kind of feel tough, can create hurt feelings and emotions, which is why Jaipur is staying on the list, because I can just enjoy it. Whereas Western Legends Showdown, Rob, I don't know if Rob was into it as deep as I was.
I love the setting. I love the portability. The gameplay was okay. Like I say, there's only 7 locations. You rotate them out. You play only 3 of the 7 each time. But I feel like your cards are always the same. You always start with the same deck of, what was it, about 8, 10?
9.
9 cards. Okay.
9.
Right in the middle there. And so my feeling is, we played it 3 times tonight. I think after about 10 plays, it would feel a little stale, a little samey. So I don't know. I don't know if the longevity's there for it, but it was fun.
And I think it's going to have that portability, that ability to literally, I mean, you saw how small that is, smaller than a wallet. That can go anywhere, and it does not have a huge table presence. So that's something we played. Rob, top me.
No, stop.
Oh,
No.
got a comment?
No, put that away. You cannot talk about that game.
Oh,
If
no.
you start talking about this game, I'm gonna have to drop like 200 freaking bucks.
Turn it a little to the left. There you
Wayne's
go.
going to have to bring out his plastic wallet and make some purchases.
I brought this over to Carlos, just a little pre-up. I brought it to Carlos just 2 weeks ago because I thought Wayne might be here. I don't know why I thought that, but for some reason I thought you were coming over. And so I brought it, and I was like, I'm going to bring this because I know Wayne and Carlos both wanted to learn it. So I'll run them through it. They can play
Final
a game together.
Girl, for those listening to the
Yeah.
podcast.
Oh, yeah, for the yeah. We were definitely going to get there, but... Well, yeah. But so, Wayne, I will teach you. I'll run you through it. It had been a while since I played it, so I had to stumble through the rules with Carlos a little bit. But we got it right. He played through. I did forget. I was reading the rules while he was starting to play, so there was a big mistake he had made a few times before.
Oh, yeah, made the game harder for me.
Made the game harder. So, but you narrowly. Well, do I say narrowly?
No, I got my.
Well, you had.
I was close. I could have killed him.
Life points. Yeah.
With a good set of dice rolls, I could have killed the guy.
Yeah, you could have. So I'll get your thoughts. Cause
One of. And we'll give it the full beans, because, man, I want to get this to the table again. Probably one of the best solo gaming experiences I've had in a long, long time that I can remember.
You're not giving the beans now, are you?
No, but it may not be fair.
Okay.
Because I had Rob there, right? Like, it's a whole different, like, I can imagine on my own reading through the setup, setting up this game, playing this game.
Playing some creepy
Mike,
music
you
in
know
the
what I'm
background.
talking about. When you set up that game to play solo, and then at this point you're like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to bed.
This one's a big
Some
setup.
games are like that. Yeah, I would agree. This is one, I have the entire season 1, and I've got like the box that looks like the VCR and everything. And this is one I've been wanting to get to the table. And I think maybe because it is a solo game, I'm just less inclined to get it out and learn it. I know Rodney's got a video on it too, so if anybody ever wants
And his
to learn
video's like 45 minutes long. It's also another thing that kind of shied me away from it.
It's a good chunk of change, yeah.
Like, why is it so long?
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't that hard to play. Like, once Rob, and maybe that's the part that's not fair, is I had a Rob.
Yeah.
I just sat there and Rob set up the game.
If
I
every
think
game came with
I was
a
eating
Rob,
like
I mean, come on.
tortillas
Exactly.
and drinking beer.
Yeah.
Watching Rob set up the game.
I would even be down to just like come and like even watch you play, right?
I
Like,
enjoyed
hang out,
watching
have a
him
couple-
play. Yeah.
like,
As I was
we
teaching, I
got
enjoyed watching him
beers and
play.
he talking while he's playing. That'd be
Carlos
cool,
was
but
like, we'll play together, we'll make decisions together. But then as soon as we started, I was out of the picture. I mean, I didn't mind, but he took over. He's like, I'm doing this, I'm buying this card, I'm doing that. Like, okay, all right, cool.
I can't tell you the number of times I walked by that booth at Dice Tyrese and they had the whole season 1 box set, and I was just like,
Yeah.
really
I
want to do
regret
this.
not getting in on Dan's sale. I know Dan, our buddy Dan from Your Turn, had a sale of it.
Yes.
Totally
And
regret not
Selling
buying.
them for half price, yeah.
I walked through when he had the first big sale. I walked through and he had a whole table of Final Girl stuff, and I said, "Man, I should pick up this." And I said, "Nah." And I checked out with a couple of games, and then like 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes later, like 10 minutes later, I'm like, "You know what? F it. I'm gonna go buy that." And I went back, and the table was empty. I'm like,
Yeah.
God damn
It's good stuff.
Womp womp.
It's okay because now you can buy it all at full price. The reason it's still here at House Cabrera at the Studio B is because I wanted to do what Rob did for me for my wife. I think my wife, who enjoys more of that horror movie stuff than I do, I think it's gonna just hit off and maybe even give me permissions. So when Dice Tower comes and Van Ryder Games is there,
Yeah.
Pick it all
Well,
up.
yeah, and I'm
get the
hoping that
green
there's
light.
some,
that
like,
might might be my one
yeah.
splurge. You know, if I
hoping
can
there's
get her
some
on
used
board.
copies for sale at Dice Tower East at the flea market. But I also like you, Carlos. I want to play this game definitely, but I know that if I get it and I set it up and I teach my wife, she'll be all
Yeah.
about this game.
Should be on it.
Yeah, but Joey Evans from
Oh, yeah.
Dice Tower talked about how him and his wife
They bought 2 copies of it.
bought 2
Yeah.
copies, and they will play which I'm not sure how they do that because it's kind of a little bit of a hog.
It is a table hog.
because you got a lot of cards you got to lay out, but they play simultaneously next to each other at the same table.
And he said they call them over for experiences because there are experiences points in this game where something cool will happen. So he said they play, and you know, so what it is, it's a starter box for $19.99. You buy the starter box, the core box. The core box does not have, you cannot play with just the core box. It just gives you some of the starter setup stuff, but then you have to buy these plug-in modules. Each plug-in module is a different location. It has 2 final girls, both sides of the box. As you can choose one of the 2 final girls to play as, and then each one is a bad guy, a villain that you're fighting against. And so, like season 1, I believe, is 7 core boxes or 7 expansion boxes that you can buy. Each one's $19.99. So you're talking about usually about a $40 buy-in to get the core box, and then to get your first one. I own 3 of the 7.
I'm gonna need you to send me the
expansions.
list of which ones you own because when I buy my core box,
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a different one that you don't own.
Yep. But it's all plug and play. You can use any of the final girls with any of the locations, with any of the bad guys, and so you can mix and match all of them. And there's a cool thing that I didn't even know. It's not. Maybe I just missed it, but I didn't think it was that well publicized. But each, just a little tiny nugget is as you beat each of the bad guys with a final girl, there's a little hidden envelope underneath everything that you take out.
Spoiler alert.
And allows you to, well, once you do it the first time, they're all
I
there
know.
because then you go look. But anyway, so I don't think I'm spoiling too much. But then it will give you an item card that is unique to that character. And then, like I beat it with Miko was the first one I beat it with. So now I have Miko's axe, which is a better version of the starter axe that's in the game. But now every time I play, I can put that in the item stack, and it potentially could be an item that you find as you're running around the map. So it's really cool. It's got a lot of cool mechanisms. Carlos is showing off all the little. It's all magnetic. So the front and the back covers.
You hear that
They
magnetic
all
snap?
magnetic snap on and snap off, and then the front and the back cover of each of the expansions is the location and the bad guys board, and so you have to snap them off of each side of the box and then actually lay that out, and that's what you play the game on. So it's really cool. Van Ryder did an awesome job with.
Hey, Mike, you want to see what's in that envelope? We opened it.
Oh yeah, real spoiler.
know, man.
We're not getting that spoiler, but no.
I love how Wayne said, "Oh, please don't talk about this," and you guys went into great detail
Oh, yeah,
with
it's all right,
everything.
all right.
No, I expected it. I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna regret. Like this almost made my list tonight of 5 games, but it's a fairly new game, and it's like
Yeah.
Even though
I
they're working
can-
on
like-
season
like-
3 now.
yeah. What's stupid is here's the stupidity that I am. I'll say it. Is like Rob, you can go out $40. You can buy the core box in one person and start
Right.
playing. But my like little monkey brain's going, but then there's the whole box and you could buy the whole first season for like $300. And I'm like, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
I piecemealed it. So I'm going to keep picking them up as
I
I
don't
find them.
piecemeal. I go in.
Yeah,
I go
all
in
in.
like I'm freaking Dangerfield going off the dive board.
Yeah.
Man. Triple in.
I was lucky enough to get in on the first Kickstarter and pretty much went all in on that one. So I got it at a good price. And then
you have season 2 though, right?
What's that?
You didn't do the season 2 Kickstarter, right?
No, because when season 2 came around, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be all over this too. And then when I saw the price, I was like, no freaking way I'm dropping that kind of money.
Yeah.
I mean, the first Kickstarter, it was very affordable, the first one. And then the second one came out and I was like, no, can't do it.
Yeah.
Just can't
Got
do
expensive.
Yeah, Kina in there saying she regretted not getting the sale too. So yeah, there was multiple of us missed it at the Your Turn sale. Not getting the box, but so yeah.
I picked up I think 2 of the boxes, 2 of the expansions, and I should have got them all 7 of them while I was there.
But mechanically, it was, and maybe because it was also the first baddie, right? So
Yeah, it's real basic.
I'm sure it was basic, but it was enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't like basic, like, oh, I could see its potential. No, it was like, this is good.
Yeah,
And it's still
Like this
random.
on
Like
its
the
own.
bad guy, you randomly pick the top and bottom half of
top
them,
half
right?
and the bottom half of his. Yep.
His dark
Yeah.
powers.
And Carlos got
Right.
the epic dark power, so it was the worst of the 4 cards he could choose. There's one that's a gold outline. It's called the epic dark power. And so before you play, you shuffle up these cards, and there's a top half of the body of the bad guy and a bottom half of the body of the bad guy, and they trigger when different events happen in the game. And it gives him an extra ability, and it kind of accelerates the end game, so that if you're slow rolling it and you're trying not to go fight, because the only way you win is by killing the bad guy. So you've got these people you can rescue, which as you rescue people, they go onto a board.
But if you don't rescue him, he's going to kill them, and then his gore factor goes up. And when his gore factor goes up, he moves farther, and he hurts you for more.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this whole trade-off. So, but then he's got these, like I said, these dark powers that flip over. They trigger at different things again to try to push the game along, and those are random. So even just within the one bad guy, he's got 8 different possible ways he plays, and so yeah, there's a whole lot of
There's
variability
a lot
in
of
this.
variability there.
Yeah, it's deep. Yeah, it's fun.
And he was the basic baddie.
Yeah.
Like it literally said, no special rules.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was fun. And I love the theme, the whole summer camp theme. You know, I shared that on the Discord in the chat. It just
Happy
totally
Trails.
reminded me of Friday the 13th. You know, the Voorhees thing, like it was just spot on.
Yep.
Final Girl, I want to give it the beans with Rob,
We'll
but
go full
I
into it
just
later.
went full. Like you know how I feel about it. There
Yeah.
you go. You know how I feel about it.
One more.
And then finally, the last one we played, this one, The King and Me. I know that Robert and I have talked about For the King and Me. Let me say that again. For the King, parentheses, and me. Right? Because you're doing things for the king, but really you're doing it for yourself. You're trying to get yourself into better influence with certain people who run the court for the king, right? For the different positions in there.
I was looking for Biblios. I don't know if you see it on the
It's
shelf there, but
over there somewhere. Biblios.
Yeah.
It's it. It's Biblios. This is Biblios. Robert and I have talked about it. Biblios so many times and shared our love, and people in the comments have always talked, oh, it sounds great. I wish I can get it. It's not available. Can't find it, right? It's $118 used on Amazon. What? This is Biblios. This is 100% Biblios
100%.
with some changes, some for the better, some for the worse.
Some for the worse.
We'll give for those watching here, we'll give it up and then we'll do a video later. The best part is this is 5 players.
5 players.
Biblios is a 4-player game, and that's where it struggled hitting the table because there's always be that 5th player that comes in.
And this is Biblios up to 4 players. When you go to 5 players, it adds an extra element. Yeah, you flip the board to a different side. It adds another set of cards and another element to the game. So it is absolutely Biblios from 1 to 4 players. It's still Biblios at 5 players, but it adds just the right
extra
things, I think, to make it a 5-player game.
And then and in the base game, so of course Biblios was a 2-player game, 2 to 4.
4.
This is still 2 to 5, but the 3 and up, when 3 or more players are playing, you're no longer just fighting for that one die of influence. In Biblios, it was a die that rolled up and down for influence in a certain thing. You're trying to collect sets for certain influence in colors.
So it's all or nothing.
Leave it basic. It was always all or nothing, right? Like you could be like 2 points shy of getting the influence for that one color to be able to win, but Robert takes it from you like he normally does.
Of course.
In this version, there are 2 levels. There's a primary and a secondary.
First and second.
So the primary is the value 1 through 6 of that color that you're fighting for. We'll just dumb it down without theme based on color. The secondary is always half rounded down of the primary value.
Nice.
So what I didn't like about Biblios, which I always espouse how much I loved it, but what I didn't like was there was always ties. They tended to be ties, but there was really no good tiebreaker. Here, I can see there's going to be a lot less ties because people will have secondaries in other markets and other colors that they can use to help pad their score to differentiate. It's going to be more granular in that score spread. Right? It's not going to feel either all or nothing. So that's a bonus.
Yeah, in Biblios, if you didn't feel fairly certain you were going to win in a certain color, you might as well bail out of it and get rid of all those cards and try to go somewhere else. In this one, again, if with 3 or more players, 2 players is that way, is Biblios. It's first or nothing. But 3, 4, or 5 players in this one, there's a first place and a second place. And so you might be like, well, I've only got 4 points of orange, but that might be enough to take second place. And so maybe I'll go ahead and keep those cards.
And since Rob has rolled orange up to 6, that means I get 3 points.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see right now in the second phase of Biblios, there's 2 phases in the game. And the first phase is the distribution phase, where you draw cards and distribute them out to everyone. In the second phase of the game, you're now bidding for these cards that you had distributed previously, right? Mm-hmm. And you can bid a number of cards to buy gold. Right, so you can bid away. Like if there was a color orange you didn't like, you can say, I'm going to spend 5 orange or 5 cards on that. I'm going to bid 5 cards on that. Here, now there's value, right? So I may want to fight for second place, and it just adds more decision space.
Yeah.
But it's fiddly in the way they do it.
It is. It's really fiddly.
Okay.
Yeah, instead of
That seems
dice
cool.
now, it used to be just a die roll. Now there's these little placard things.
Banners. Those are
that-
these thin little banners that you put under portraits.
So instead of rolling a die from the 3 to the 4 to show that the orange is now worth 4, I have to take the 3 banner off the board,
Go find
to
the
stack of
4.
the banners and find the 4 and then put the 4.
But
on
wait,
the board.
Rob, it's a 4 now, so half of 4 is 2. So now
Let's
we
go
got to
find the
find the
2
banner
banner.
for the 2
Go put that
to
out
replace the secondary banner of the 1. Whereas in Biblios, it was just a die that you rolled and you kind of flipped it.
So we had talked about maybe taking 2 colored die and then having the
big one and
the
little
white
one?
die always, or the big one, the little one.
You know
the
what?
white, the black, or
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
One
Yeah.
big die, one small die. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, so that you don't have to keep finding those little banners. That was really fiddly. So, and we understand that it was probably a cost-saving thing because dice, I would assume, would tend to be way more expensive than little pieces of cardboard, and so it was probably a way to make it a little more affordable, kind of keep the price down a little bit. But otherwise,
$17.99 on Amazon.
Definitely a bigger
And you
box
have
than
Biblios.
though.
yeah,
That's the other downside. Biblios was something I could throw in my small bag.
yeah.
This is a little bit bigger, and it takes up more table space because now there's a board.
The board, yeah.
There's a board that has the different portraits so that you can roll the dice. It's a bigger board.
Biblios has a board, but you really don't need the board. You just need the dice. So, yeah.
Those are the games that we played. What'd y'all play?
Well,
Oh, phone lines are open. 813-618-7099.
I was gonna
Wayne
say
and Mike, what'd you play?
Yeah. So I haven't. I played a bunch of games with my kid the last few days. So I'll just talk real quick about one game. Is I did get to play the Jungle Cruise. Game.
What'd you think?
The not a very good game.
Oh, really? A lot of luck.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, actually, I think it was. I'll say this: like I watched Tom's review of it, and he really trashed it. And I say, I played it with my kid who's 9, and he enjoyed it. Right. And so I enjoyed it playing with him. And I think there was a little bit more decision space than Tom gave it credit for. It's kind of like, I almost feel like we need to come up with another type of game because we talk about like gamers games, right? And then we talk about mass market. This is like somewhere in between, right? So it's like, it's kind of mass markety because it was basically sold in like all the department stores, but it's like a little bit more than somebody who just plays Sorry and Scrabble or, I don't know, Chutes and Ladders and Candyland. There was some decision space there, but what made it amazing, and I've been tormenting my son with it, is on the cards. So like as you roll a die and you move your ship, and you basically the Jungle Cruise, like the Disney attraction Jungle Cruise. So you're moving your ship through the jungle, and every time you land on a space, you have to draw like threat cards, and the threat cards are like alligators or it's hippos or it's indigenous peoples, whatever
Dad jokes.
and that's what I'm saying. So on each card there's a dad joke, right?
Oh, awesome.
Well, that's what I was
and-
going to ask, because there's two Jungle Cruises
Yeah,
that I think of.
The theme,
Right.
Right, there's Jungle Cruise the movie, right? So Disney tried to like revamp and revitalize that whole
with
thing,
Dwayne the Rock Johnson, right?
right? Which my family loved.
It was
But
fun.
then
It
there's
was a
the
fun movie.
Jungle Cruise at Disney Modern that we're used to, right? Where like Disney has just like decided, we're not gonna pretend this ride is like a real Jungle Cruise ride. It's just a bunch of dad jokes on a boat.
Yes.
What theme is this one set in?
It's probably more the ride than the movie.
So just a bunch of stupid jokes.
Yes, and
I
so
think that was
on,
the tent. Yeah.
Yeah, on each card, it gives you the threat, and you have to roll the threat. And the threat, if you roll, bad dice, you have to throw people off your boat because they basically fell off the ride. But on each card, there's a dad joke. And oh my god, we were reading all the cards, and my kid was like, and so like I picked him up from school today, and I'm like, hey buddy, you don't have to worry about money on the cruise because there's always banks on the river. It's like, and he was just like, I don't even want to talk to you right now, Dad. Like, I don't want you. He's like, just shut up. But no, he loved it. Like, so it made it fun. Like the game wasn't horrible. Like it's not like want to play it again, but he's going to want to play it again because it's definitely a kid's game. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds will enjoy it. And then as a gamer, I'm like, okay, I'll play it. I roll the die. There's some strategy about who you throw off your boat and how you do it and getting points. So it's not a horrible game. It's definitely like a scale of 1 to 10. It's like a 5, right? It's a 5, 6. But the dad jokes are hilarious, and you can just have fun reading the cards. And if you get it, it's all about like what you make of the game experience, right? The game is not the greatest game in the world, but I can make it fun because I can have fun with the dad jokes.
How big is that deck of cards?
Oh, there's like 50, 60 cards in that deck. So there's a good 50, 60, and they're all different because there's some cards that say like, there's like, I saw at least 3 or 4 alligator cards, and each one had a different dad joke on it.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when Robert and I played trekking the national parks, like us and the kids sat after the game kind of reading through the different locations and the facts that are on the back. You and Malcolm sat there after your game and kind of read through the dad jokes.
A couple of them here and there. Yeah.
I love it.
He was having fun with it. He was great. He was having, and I think that it's like, if you have a game that's very simple and it's not complex and it's maybe not the best game in the world, but there's some element of it that you can make fun out of it. And so it's good. So it's a game that I got in our Beans and Dice Christmas White Elephant game exchange. We played it once, and I'm like, well, I'm okay with this. And my kid was like, no, I'll play that again, Dad. I'm like, all right. So it's not be a game that we're going to pull out regularly, but it's one that I will probably pull out and play 4 or 5 times with him until we get tired of the dad jokes, and then I'll hand it off to Rob to play so that he can get used to the dad jokes. So it was
try
fun.
it.
Yeah, it was.
We'll dedicate an episode where like you do like Steve. I think it's Steve on the Secret Cabal. Just like randomly jump in with a dad joke, like just out of nowhere.
Yep.
Out of nowhere. Yep.
What else you got on the recently played?
Oh yeah, I mean we talked. We also played. What the Suspects? Oh my God, what's the name of the game? Phil Walker Harding game. My brain's not working.
Praiseby?
Oh no, Museum Suspects. So it's kind of like a Clue Light or a Clue-like game. You have a grid of 4x4 grid of like various animals with like either hats on or cameras, and around the board there are 8 clues that help eliminate them as suspects. And what's interesting here is there's 6 rounds in the game. You have 12 tokens, and the tokens range from 1 to 5 value. When you go to get a clue, you have to put a token down. So you're bidding on that clue, sort of. You can then get to look at the clue. Depending on what number you put, anyone else who wants to look at that clue the rest of the game has to pay equal or higher value of that, right? So if I put a 3 there, you have to do 3. But if Carlos then goes and puts a 4, that has to be 4. So it could be tighter as the game goes on. Then your second action with a token is you have to then bet on, secretly, put one of your tokens face down on top of one of the 16 people that you think is actually the thief, right? As the game goes on, you see more clues. You might have put bets on people who aren't the bad guy, but now you've found who they are. So there's kind of this tug and pull of how much do you want to spend to block clues from other people or make people spend higher on those clues before you bet on people. So it's kind of a very light game, but it's kind of cool. I think it gets better at 3 or 4 player than in 2 player, because at 2 player you're going to see most of the clues and not have to overpay for it. But very light, but feel work hard game. I know the Dice Tower played it on one of their spectaculars last year, and I think I picked it up on Amazon for my kid for Christmas.
What was the name of the game?
Museum Suspects. So it's definitely a family weight game. Probably, probably like maybe a 2 complexity at most, but it was fun. I think it's $15-$16 on Amazon, so it's not expensive.
It was Kaiser Sosa. That's who it was.
Kaiser, yeah. It was fun.
Usually the suspect.
But we played. I played it like 6 times this week because I've won every one, and my kid's like, "Let's play it again. I gotta beat you. Let's play it again. Let's play it again." It was fun. Yeah. So this week's been a lot of gaming with my kid, which is always fun. So,
what'd you guys think of Skulk Hollow?
It was good. We want to play it again. We played one game where we kind of learned how to play it, so we were kind of taking our time and learning it, and then I left it set up because we're gonna play it a couple more times this weekend to really get into it, because I was kind of like talking through his terms with him and how to play, and so he was getting it. It was more of kind of like a very learning-ish game. So that's why I didn't want to talk about it in depth yet tonight. But he was already like, "Oh, there's 4 different big guys you can play. It's not. I don't have to just play as Draco." Yes, he was already like thinking ahead of like what the other creatures can do. So that'll be a game that I think we're going to play a bunch in the next few weeks.
That was another game that just came up on one of the top 100s there on the Dice Tower list, and I didn't realize, but the newer version of the newer game,
like Frost Hollow or something?
Something Hollow is completely interchangeable. You can play those bad guys with the good guys from the first one,
really?
or vice versa.
No?
Yeah.
Cool.
So he said they're all mixable, so that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm just still bugged out about that whole turning of the board into a diamond shape.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like it is weird. Like I have to look at the cards. Like they could have easily just kept it a square, and we could have worked with orthogonal and diagonal.
Yeah, gotta do something different.
It is different.
Yeah.
That it is.
Yeah.
All right, we want to ask Mike about his. I don't know if you're done, Wayne, but we got
I'm good.
10, 15 minutes left in the show. Mike just went to a con.
Oh, that's right.
So Mike
At this
has
point,
got-
phone lines are closed, y'all. It's too late now.
30
If you didn't call
plays.
in, it's over.
30 plays at the con.
We're gonna be
30
going long
plays.
on this one.
That what I heard on the audio podcast? Yeah.
That is accurate.
That's
That
just not
is
30
accurate.
unique games. You mentioned you played some of them several times.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay,
no,
yeah, yeah.
like
So 30.
so Wayne and I kind of touched on this on the audio only podcast, and so this past weekend was OrcaCon in Seattle, and actually over in Bellevue, but it's just right over the water there, and from Friday to Sunday, basically all day gaming, and it's OrcaCon is kind of I shouldn't say kind of, it is promoted as a all-inclusive anybody of any walk of life, so it's very LGBTQ plus friendly, and all nationalities and colors. It's just a big safe place where you don't have to feel uncomfortable being who you are, and everybody's welcome. And it was really cool. I mean, it was just, I went there. I don't go to many cons by myself. I'm usually either with somebody I know, or like when I lived in Florida, the whole Beans and Dice crew were there. So I went into this only knowing for certain only one person that I knew that was going, but it wasn't somebody that I was planning on hanging out with the whole time. So I kind of went with the intention of I want to try playing games with people that I don't know and get that experience, because I've really never had that. Like walking up to a table that says we need 3 players or whatever, and being one of those 3, not knowing anyone at the table at all. And also playing games that I've never played before, having somebody teach it to me, or me teaching games to somebody else. So, so I took Friday off, and I was there all 3 days, and I got about 30 games in total. And like one of the games was Werewords, which we played like 8 games in a row.
I was listening to the, for y'all that don't know at home, Mike and Wayne posted an audio podcast where Mike goes through some of his Orca plays.
Yeah.
And I wanted to laugh because last week we talked about the board game insights that we got.
Uh-huh.
You dang near got a dime out of Werewords. Like
One night.
just a couple more plays, you could have got a
I
dime in
know.
one day.
And I don't. The funny thing
A
is, I
dime
don't
for you
think I'm
folks at
gonna-
home is 10 plays of a game within 1 year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about like how am I gonna? Do I really want to go to Dice Tower West just to play 2 more games of Werewords to make it a dime? You know, because I've also got my.
You have
Go ahead,
East.
Wayne.
If you come to East, we'll grab out Werewords and play Beans
Yeah,
and
we'll-
Dice crew
yeah,
playing
we'll knock
Werewords. That'd be
that out.
hilarious.
Yeah, because I've got a 10 by 10 challenge. I didn't pick any particular game. I just want to play 10 games 10 times. Not like to make it work, but something that I would enjoy doing to see if I can actually do it. Because usually, we're always hopping around from game to game. We really don't get too many of the same game in. So like the ones that I played the most was Werewords. I got 8 games of that in. And then I got 4 games of No Thanks in, which, those 2 games, they're very easy to get multiple games in pretty rapidly. But as far as like the games that really quick, I taught Lunar to 3 people. I had no idea who they were. Played Aqua, which just hit Kickstarter a couple of days ago. It's a quick little card-based game where some cards are hidden. You're dealt X number of cards and you're putting cards out on a table orthogonally. You are face up, face down type cards. And if you encompass a face down card, that one flips up. But there's like this whole scoring mechanism where one person is scoring all the columns and one person is scoring all the rows. And it doesn't have to stick to any kind of particular, it doesn't have to be a perfect square when you're creating these cards, putting these cards out. But the way the scoring mechanism works, I think if any row or column when you're scoring yours is over 20 points, then you lose the points for that row or column, depending on what you're scoring for. So there is this kind of hidden, almost kind of like a take that bit to it where you can screw somebody over by throwing like a high numbered card down to make them bust on that particular row or column or whatever. It was pretty cool. I mean, it's a very cheap game on Kickstarter. I think it's like maybe $7, something like that. And I think it's designed by somebody in Seattle. So I got a game of that in. I got Cat Sudoku in, which kind of funny. I backed that on Kickstarter, got it, never opened it, ended up selling it because I never thought I would enjoy it. Played it, and of course, I really liked it.
Of course. So now he's searching for a copy in the secondary market.
Twice as what he sold it for.
No. If somebody wanted to give me a
Mistakes were
copy,
made.
I'd take it. Yeah, but and then Draft and Write Records, which I taught. That was another flippant. Well, it's a drafting, card drafting roll and card drafting and write game. I guess you could say
That's a mouthful.
It's an X. It's an X and
drafting
write
and
type
write.
of game, whatever it is.
Okay.
But you're trying to create your band, and depending on it's a little bit of combo. It's not. I wouldn't say it's combo-rific like Gone Clever, but there are a lot of this will give me this, which I may do that, and I can't get past this point unless I have this, and the cool mechanism of it is, unfortunately, I only played with 2 people, and I'd like to play with a full player count because you are, kind of like Sushi Go Party. You're drafting one card and you're handing the rest over, and then you're flipping it over at one time, and then you're like making Xing things off on your board. But the main part of it is you are creating this band. So you have a singer, you've got like 4 musicians, but then you also have the road crew and I think producers or something like that. But each card will have kind of like a D-pad. If you think like controllers, you have your D-pad, so up, down, left, right, and they'll have colors on them. So as you're choosing a person in your band or your entourage, they'll have a point value and then these 4 colors and a top, bottom, left, right. And it kind of comes down in a pyramid. So you've got the one singer at the top, then your 4 musicians and so on. Or 3 musicians, I think. But anyway, so as you're choosing people, if you can, say your singer has a, purple circle at the bottom, if you can pick a musician that has a purple circle at the top, they create what they call harmony, which will allow you to check off other things on the board, which, will give you free things as you go along. So that mechanism of it I think is really cool. And I've never seen a draft and write type of game before. I don't know if there is another one like that. But anyway, so I got a game of that in. I played Cat in the Box for the first time. I've never played that before,
good game.
which is one I've been wanting to play. And
So what do you think? You're the trick taking guy with the the area control aspect with trick taking. What do you think?
I liked it. I didn't see the setup, so I don't know, because it looked like the board in the middle, there was cards that maybe slid in and out.
Yes,
that,
it's variable for player count.
okay, so I didn't know that, because I was like finishing up with the game, and somebody got up from a table and said, hey, we need one more player for Cat in the Box. And I was kind of like, and then I looked, and Starla from Our Family Plays Games was sitting at the table. And I was like, I'm in, so I sat down.
No matter what the game is.
Yeah, right. I'm going to play. I don't care. And the funny thing is I sat down and I just said, look, I'm good with trick takers. I just need a quick overview. Tell me, how to play. So, they explain like where you place your card is, the suit of the card, and you can choose when you no longer have that suit. And they kind of explained it. And then Starla said, and then you get points for, at the end of the round, you'll get points, from the board. And I was like, well, how do you score points from the board? And she's like, you'll figure it out. And I was like, okay.
I like it.
Control part of it.
Yeah. So she was just, and it wasn't rude. I definitely didn't take it that way. I think it was more of, they had a full player count and then somebody had to leave. So they were trying to like just get the game going,
Yeah.
So after the first round, I figured it out, and I really enjoyed the game. I just wish I knew more, and with you telling me it's based on player count, like how the cards slide into the board in the middle of the table.
Yeah, with fewer players.
And you missed that whole setup piece.
Yeah, fewer
I
players.
didn't see any of that.
It cuts down the top card, so the cards go like from like 1 to 12 or something if you play max player count, and then the
because we were playing 1 to 9 were the
Okay.
number of the cards.
So how many you had? 4 players or 3 players?
I want to say we had 5. I
5?
think we had
okay.
5
Maybe
players.
I'm remembering wrong, but yeah. So it scales the number of cards that you use. You take out a higher number of cards and play with fewer cards with fewer players, but that also shrinks the board, the area control. So if you were using the whole length of the board, you were playing max player count. So
Yeah, it was 1 to 9, and then they all kind of like shifted over a couple each. Each suit was like shifted over, so it kind of like created this step pattern going down, which I really love that strategy, because you kept thinking like, okay, well, if I say I no longer have these cards, then I can drop my piece in this, and then I can chain all my pieces in a row. But the like you have to hit whatever you're betting in order to score the middle, which
score the area control.
that was pretty challenging actually.
Yeah.
But really enjoyed that game. Kind of like going through. Then I played Ethnos for the first time. Never played that before.
I couldn't
know.
believe, when you posted
That didn't make it
first
to
time you
your
never
list.
played. That was played so many times in our game group while you were here, and I can't believe
know.
you never got in on it.
And I remember, because I think the first time I saw you guys playing it was at one of the Christmas exchange parties. I think it was at Strange Realms when you had it.
Oh,
there.
we had to play on the ping pong table.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I remember Rob saying, "Oh man, this is such a good game," blah blah blah. And it looks like crap, but it's such a good game.
Number 19 on my top 20 last year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good game, and unfortunately, Ashwin, who is one of the co-creators for the Wolves, he was the one that was teaching it. He said, because you randomly pick whatever factions are going to be used for that game. He said, "Oh, it really wasn't the best faction draw that we picked," and I really enjoyed it. I know some of the other factions had some more bizarre stuff that they would cause to happen, but I enjoyed it. Like I would totally play that game again. And
you only play with about half of the factions each game, so there's a lot of variability.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited to play it again. And in the grand scheme of things, it's a map, and you're putting discs on a map for the most part.
Yeah.
The funny thing is when they broke it out, I was thinking, oh, this looks kind of like The King is Dead, but I was okay with that. It doesn't have to be that good looking in order to be a good game. So that was it for Friday. I kind of wasted a lot of time Friday trying to find somebody to play Lunar with me, because it's hard to find 3 people just to play a trick taker. But anyway, next I'm going to go through these really quick. I played Brass Birmingham, Fantastic Factories with one of the creators. I think Joseph was there to play it. But he was there. Yeah, he was there at the con. He's just he's cool, man. He's just, everybody, there's a lot of developers there, and everybody was just like, you and I, like, they just want to talk games and they enjoy playing games. Then I played a 5-player game of Scythe, played a few games of Hanamakoji, learned Spots, which is that, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like dogs
Circle
and you're chucking
tins.
dice. Yeah. And what?
No, I'm thinking of a different game.
Yeah,
No,
it's
this
the
is
the dog one.
You're
This is
rolling
the one with
dice,
the dogs.
and finishing
Yeah.
dogs. Yeah, it's on BGA. It's fun.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. And then we played the 2-player game of Vampire Radar.
I thought you were
Which
saying
is-
Vindication. I know that's one of your favorites. Yeah.
No, I didn't get that one in. Vampire Radar is this game from Japan, and the premise of the game is one person is playing like Dracula or a vampire that is invisible, that has to I think feed off of children or something like that, and then there's 4 school children that know about this haunted house where this invisible vampire is, but can be seen or has to reveal how many spaces away he is when you land on a radar space. And these school children have to go around picking up silver bullets and shoot in a direction that they think the vampire's in and hit it 4 times before the vampire eats all the children. Total.
Wow.
I mean,
What a theme.
Nothing sounds more Japanese than that, than
Yeah.
this really weird game. It was actually pretty fun because it's a very, very much of a cat and mouse game, and trying to position. I played the school children, and you're trying to position your kids in a way so that, because you're shooting orthogonally, and it'll go all the way across the map until it hits a wall, and you'll just say, I'm shooting in this direction, and it'll either be a hit or a miss. But as the vampire is running around, if he actually eats a child, he can move an additional space. So even if you know where he is, then he gets to move one more space, and then all of a sudden it's like a mystery.
As
again.
that full unknown.
Yes. And even when you land on a radar, it's like when you land on it, he just says, okay, I'm 3 spaces away. He doesn't even show on the map where he is. So it was fun. Probably something I wouldn't play too many more times, but I would say it was a fun game. And then Hansa Teutonica, which I've never played before. Another one that everybody walked by and they're like, this one of my favorite games, but man, that's a brutal game. It is so mean, Never played it before, and it's one of those, total Wayne games where it's just a white male on the cover, poorly drawn.
I love the story in the podcast about it and what you thought it was going to be. I'll leave that for the folks at home to explore on their own.
The audio podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
Check out the audio podcast. It was hilarious.
I was dead serious when he pulled it out. I was like, what game is that? He's like, dude, this is Hansa Teutonica. This is what we're going to be playing. I was like, oh, all right, whatever.
I guess I need to try it again. Wayne and I had the same feelings on it. It was good. It's a solid game, but it felt like an old game to me. It felt like, yeah.
I think it's one of those classic games that kind of may have a bit more influence because of the nostalgia of it.
Yeah, probably.
I would definitely want to play it again. And the person who had the game, they had like the big box edition, so they had multiple maps. So I would like to see some of the other maps and how they're laid out.
Yeah, it was like, hey, it's a solid game. It's a really good game. You can see why it's lasted as long as it has. But like having played it now as opposed to 10 years ago or whenever it came out, it's like, okay, it's a really good game, but it's not wowing me. And I think more plays, and as you learn the ins and outs and how to be more brutal and more cutthroat with it, it could probably increase its playability.
Yeah. After I finished, I was like, I'd still rather play Brass. Something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Or Castles of Burgundy or Viticulture. Or
well, I don't know about Castles of Burgundy. I can't say
that.
Then we played Mino Dice, which is a very. I don't know if have you guys ever played Mino Dice?
No.
All right, this is a. I'm gonna circle back around to this real quick because then we played a game of Chomp. No thanks, and then we played the Wolves. That was taught by Ashwin. Both Mick and Starla from Our Family Plays Games was there. He taught them as well, and one other person. So it was very cool to play with Mick and Starla, because what you see on their YouTube channel is exactly how they are in person. Mick is in your face, like joking around, like in a good way, kind of like in your face.
I love it.
He's so much, and he's yelling and he's boisterous and it's funny. And Starla just kind of sits back and plans her attack, and then is like, okay, well, I'm going to make this move. And, boom, like all these things happen. And Mick's always like, why you always got to beat up on me, Starla? So it's so funny to be there with them while they're actually, being themselves. It's kind of cool. Anyway, Mino Dice, circling back around, this will be the last game I talk about. I know we're running out of time. Oh, real quick. So Mino Dice is a dice chucking trick taker. And it's usually played in 7 rounds. Each round you're going to grab, first round, everybody's going to grab 1 die. And then the second round, everybody's going to grab 2 die. And each colored die has X number of faces on it with point values. So like the bottom of the list is the gray die. And every single face except for one of them is only a 1, except for the one face that has a 7. And then the next one up, it'll have 2 faces of 2, 2 faces of 3, 2 faces of 4. So anyway, as you're drafting dice, it doesn't matter what you have to follow suit if you have it, but if you don't, it's still highest number wins. It doesn't matter. So you have to bet how many tricks you think you're going to win, and by the end of the round, it's like a 1, 2, 3, and then you show how many tricks you think you'll win. And then there are 3 trump colors where there's minimal dice of those. Like the chance of drawing those out of a bag is very minimal, and they're super powered, but they have a triangular, blue will beat green will beat, I think it's
like
brown.
a Rochambeau.
Right.
Rock,
but then
paper,
brown, blue can be brown. It's like this really weird, but it's just, it's a perfect game for the end of the night, because you don't have to think about it. You're just chucking dice. But it's even if you only have a gray die, so some faces don't have any points at all. So I just saw the gray one. It has 2 faces that are white, 3 faces that are 3 faces that have a flag on it, which means there's no face on it, no points, and then 7. So the chances of you rolling that 7 are so rare, yet it happens all the time. So somebody will roll a red die, which
Blood
is
Bowl.
the red die is so super powered because it's just 5, 6, and 7, across all the faces. But then, then you're like, okay, as long as I don't win any more tricks this round, I hit my number, and all I got left is a gray die. And then you throw the gray die and it lands on 7. You end up beating everybody. It's one of those games where you have those moments where it's the whole table gets boisterous because it's this crazy roll. I think it's fun. It's mindless.
Luck with trick taking, though. I mean, never shall the 2 cross, right? I mean, holy crap! I can't imagine. You're trying to bid on how many you're going to get, and you're trying to get a certain number, but then you're rolling dice and leaving it all to random.
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
and the fun of it is you gain negative points in this game if you hit, depending on what round it is, and if you hit your number, it's usually in by 10 points, 10, 20, 30, whatever. But if you don't hit your number, you're getting all those negative points. And if you win with one of the blue dice, then there's this whole scoring, which is a little bit fiddly. I wish they would kind of streamline that a little bit more, but it's just, it's such a fun game, and I need to find a copy of this. I want to say it's a game from Japan, and I don't know if they're making it in the States yet, but this is one that I know it has a low rating, and I'm sure it's because those trick-taking people, they don't want luck involved. See, Japan.
There's a copy in Korea.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll quote another game you played.
They'll ship
No thanks.
worldwide, though.
Oh, ship worldwide.
Anyway, so those were the games that I got in. So I got about 30 games in, and 8 of them were one, 4 were another, and then the rest were all kind of unique. And there were some prototype plays in there that I just didn't include. But yeah, all in all, it was a good con though.
We'll have to touch on the prototype thing sometime. I listened to your podcast, and I want to compare a little bit your experience with what my experience and Carlos's experience have been with the Stonemeyer Design Day.
I'd like to do that. Yeah,
we'll have to do that in a separate show. But yeah,
yep.
And I want to hear about the wolves. I'm going to want to.
It's good.
I know you're taking phone numbers down of folks that we might be able to get
Contact.
on board.
Yeah,
to hear.
I was making contact. So Ashwin, I talked to him, see if he wants to be on the show. I think he's on board. There's another person there that I met, a really nice woman that played the wolves with us. She is a rule book editor. I thought it would be interesting to have her on to see
chat.
Yeah, to see what kind of like issues she runs into, because like we were kind of talking at the table while we're playing, and she's like, "Man, some of these games I get, it's like, have you even, do you even play games? Like, do you play games,
Do
bro?
you speak English?
Is English your first language?
Right. She's like, some of these rule books are so bad. It's like written by somebody that doesn't know how to play games, doesn't understand terminology, and but she says, it's what keeps her in business. So
That's
I
cool.
thought that was pretty cool. Yeah,
That is pretty cool.
So
All right, we're gonna have to make that happen.
Yeah.
Because the wolves, I'm curious about. What were your quick thoughts on the wolves?
Funny thing is Ashwin said he based it, like the inspiration for him was Hansa Teutonica. So there's like a bumping mechanism. You're trying to grow your pack. Each scoring round, different tiles will score based on whoever has majority on that tile. And you're creating dens, and you're upgrading your dens to I forget what they're called.
Larger dens, and then like hollows.
Right, and you have alpha wolves, and you can take over other people. You can howl to call like the wolves that nobody owns into your pack, and everything that you do on the board, every piece that you remove will go onto a scoring board, like a track. And once it gets to a certain point value, depending on the number of players, then you'll score for that round. And then it'll continue on when you get to the next one. And it's basically the phases of the moon. And I think you score 3 times in the game. So it's like, and it's random wherever the tiles are that are going to be scoring for that round. So you're getting your pack running over here to this side, and then all of a sudden that one scores before you may be ready for it. So then you're dragging your pack over to this side, and just encompassing animals that you can kill to put on your board, and you're upgrading your board, very similar to Hansa, where you get extra turns and you can do more things each round. I enjoyed it. I really liked it.
It was really good. I got to play it with Diego. I forget the other game players, but we played at Dice Iris. It was really solid. I enjoyed it a lot.
And it's an easy game to learn. It's really not that hard. So, yeah, I think you would like it.
Cool. Yeah, I've been wanting to play it too. It's a popular one.
Well, that's OrcaCon.
Yeah, it's good.
For
time.
more details on that, definitely check out the podcast. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Mike, for putting that together and dropping that conversation.
Yeah.
I think the piece that I really enjoyed that stood out for me in listening to y'all talk, because we're all friends here. We have these same conversations together. Is we don't just talk board games. Like there's so much life conversation that went on in there. Like I turned to my wife like, I never knew that. Right? Like
we try to keep it on topic, but you go off on these tangents every now and then.
Because like I said, and that's part of the motto is it's how we game, right? We're not just gamers, but we're also fathers and spouses and brothers and siblings, and like we bring life into it. And that's the part that I really enjoyed listening to, is not just the games you talked about, but the people you play with them, how it impacted your family, and I think that's part of what created this community of folks that have been sticking around for 3+ years listening to this nonsense, is because we connect on a deeper level than just let me tell you about a board game.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Great
It was good. And I think
episode.
like Mitchell and I were doing the podcast last year, and then it got away from us towards the end of the year, and then Mike's been pushing to start it up again. So I thank you, Mike, for doing that. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
And our goal initially is to at least twice, bi-weekly, so twice a month. But I thought it was interesting is, we recorded the podcast and we were done. Mike's like, Man, that was an hour. We talked for an hour. That went quick, man.
Nice.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I know. You. I remember at one point you're like, "All right, it's been 45 minutes. I think we need to get on topic." Like, can you believe it's been 45 minutes? Like
It flies.
It flies because this, and that's what I enjoy. It's just that conversation is. So thank you guys for putting it together. All right, I won't belabor that.
And thank you, Mitch, for doing the edit. And
Oh
throwing
heck
it up
yeah!
there.
Yeah.
And that was quick too. He turned that around real fast.
Yeah, you should take some notes on that, Carlos.
Hey, listen,
He doesn't edit. That's why we do this.
live. We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Copyrighted.
All right, folks. Well, that's gonna end it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Put in the Discord on the Beans and Dice Discord. Go to the channel for the call-in show. Give us any ideas on topics you think we should be, hitting. Any lists you want to hear about, games you want us, even games you want us to play, like anything that you think we should be playing next that you want to see us playing and provide our thoughts on it. So we really appreciate you joining us. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Good night, everybody. We'll catch you